Subscribe to the daily newsletter.
For reliable electrical services in Central Alabama, trust the experts at Crosby Electric. Crosby's licensed and insured electricians are ready to tackle any project for your home, from troubleshooting, repairs, to installing new lighting and preventive maintenance. And Crosby understands the need for quality service for small business. Crosby is big enough for the largest job, yet small enough to bring real value. Visit CrosbyElectric.com to schedule your service. Crosby, powering Central Alabama with excellence.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Years as rogues, vagabonds, frauds, and scoundrels. I sometimes suspected, like everyone else, I often expect too much of them.
This is how you conduct yourself in a democracy?
You are a rude, terrible person.
Joey Clark.
Welcome into the program. Beautiful day. Another beautiful day. We got a few in a row here out of Montgomery, Alabama. The big, beautiful bill passes. The one big, beautiful bill. Thomas Massie dissents in a big, hardcore way. We have another second day in a row, brand new all-time high for Bitcoin, hitting just shy of $112,000 of Bitcoin. I'm loving the memes. I'm loving especially the ones from the movie The Big Short, where it's Ryan Gosling, and he's like, you at the family like Thanksgiving dinner, and it's him looking at a check going, everybody said I was wrong. I was right. Or no, it turns out I was right. Everybody else is wrong.
I don't do that much, Joey.
No, I try not to do that much.
I have,
but
done
especially
it in the past,
with
though.
family, especially like my brother and my dad and stuff. It's like, guys, come on.
Yeah.
Like, don't have to put all your money in it anyway. Also, seeing the markets reacting to this big, beautiful bill, 30-year Treasury bond hits 5.15%, highest yield in 20 years.
Yep.
Which means the debt that they're going to create with this bill just got a lot more expensive. This is something the Treasury Secretary was trying to stop. Also, incredibly tragic news. D.C. shooter in Washington, D.C. at the Israeli embassy kills 2 staffers there.
Yep.
A boyfriend, girlfriend, actually, a couple, very young, beautiful couple. And in fact, the young woman was trying to work on getting humanitarian aid into Gaza. The guy shot him dead, and when he was arrested, yelled, "Free Palestine." So that's just wonderful, ain't it? Also, you're seeing the Supreme Court in a strange 4-4 decision because Amy Coney Barrett had to recuse herself, saying you cannot send charter school funds or government like school choice funds to a religious school.
Yeah.
Violates the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment. And Amy Coney Barrett recused because I guess she's Catholic and was like, I can't, like, chicken. I didn't know we put a chicken on the Supreme Court.
She didn't want to get the pushback.
I know.
Which I think is wrong. That's the whole reason we got you there. Sorry, but kind of got one job.
Now, let's go to Erica Thomas because she is, in particular, I want to talk with Erica about something we were talking with Dr. Tankersley yesterday, this big hearing in front of Senator Ron Johnson's committee, and in fact had Alabama's own Jordan Vaughn. Erica, how you doing today?
Howdy, John. Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. You, I believe, watched this hearing at length and did a little write-up there for 1819news.com. What's your takeaway from this big hearing about the COVID vaccine regime?
Well, Joey, my take is simple. What's new? I've been reporting about this for 2-3 years now.
Yep.
The same doctors have come forward. There's no new information other than just the extent of these vaccine injuries. We do have new details and new data on that because there's more of them. More and more people are becoming vaccine injured. or experiencing long COVID, which if you have, just chronic fatigue after COVID and it won't go away, you've had it a year. So, I mean, you really could be suffering from long COVID. Dr. Jordan Vaughn, he's a doctor in Birmingham. A lot of people have heard of MedHelp. There's one in Trustful, and there's several of them. They're like a doc in a box. And there's several of them in the Birmingham area. Jordan Vaughn is the one that founded that MedHelp place. And so in the height of the COVID pandemic, he treated thousands and thousands of COVID patients. He treated thousands of people who did receive the COVID vaccine that may not have needed to get it or really, really should have avoided it because of some of the issues they've been seeing. These issues include blood clots. It's really a vascular issue, he said, not a pulmonary issue. And yesterday he explained that's why a lot of times when people were put on a ventilator when they had COVID, they never left the hospital.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy. But I mean, was there anything in terms of the defense of these COVID shots? I'd imagine the Democrats tried to say something. I mean, what was the case they were making?
Well, of course, they have their saying, the vaccine did save some lives and the government should be trusted. And we had all these health officials that were experts telling us what to do, and we should trust that. But really, every point that they made was debunked by Vaughn in this panel that was on Capitol Hill yesterday.
Yeah, it's just a shame. It really is a shame. It's like whether the government is right or wrong, especially on something really big, like in war or in this case, a pandemic. They're always right, is what the official narrative is always. Like, we were doing our best. It was the fog of war. Like, we have to trust the institutions because if you don't trust the institutions, who are you going to trust? It's like, yeah, but we trusted you. And look at the ill effects of so many people that took these jabs. I mean, it's unconscionable.
Yeah, and if you remember, anybody that spoke out against the COVID vaccines then and now even, they were retaliated against. They were threatened. The doctors were threatened that they would lose their licenses. I did stories on this, and people were very hateful, very angry that we would question the government. So a lot of people experienced that, but this is exactly why the masses did not hear this very important information that was presented yesterday in Washington. This information should have been made public. It should have been made public by the CDC, by the manufacturers of the vaccines, as low as the Alabama Department of Public Health. When they issued, you need to get this vaccine by then, they also need to issue a health alert, a health warning. This can happen to you. It wasn't just a handful of people. It was thousands and thousands of people that were injured from this vaccine. And there is scientific proof of this. And anybody that says that's not true, they're just simply not reading and seeing these stories. And the reason they might not be seeing them is because they were definitely throttled down during COVID on social media. They weren't able to get the information out there. I feel like I would know firsthand how this happened because I did write so many stories at the very beginning about all this, and they just weren't. I would have a Facebook post that had, 48 shares, and then the ones about COVID, they weren't even seen. I mean, there would be like maybe one or two shares, if anything.
Well, I want to share a quote from Jordan Vaughn that you share in your piece. He says, quote, "I urge you to stop blindly following the science. Science does not lead anywhere. It is an observer, measurer, and descriptor. It must inform leadership, not replace it. When leaders hide behind the science to justify policy, they abdicate responsibility." He ended his statement by saying, "We need leadership that humbly engages with data, listens to patients, and actually acts with courage." And, of the thousands documented of very serious cases, you got to wonder how many people were affected by these things, and just there were small little problems that you kind of you notice, but you keep on trucking. You're like, especially guys, Erica, that are like, I don't need to go to the doctor. I don't need no doctor. I might be a little lightheaded. I might have my heart feeling like it's going 190 while I'm on the treadmill, but I'll just relax. I'll be fine. And I do wonder how many folks are walking around and what are going to be the long-term consequences of this.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any way to really know. And even looking at what those injuries have done, the CDC isn't tracking those. Nobody's tracking those. Jordan Vaughn is, but he can only track the ones that come into his clinics. But really, on a grand scale, we're never going to know the real impact of this. Those people who passed away during COVID, they strongly discouraged autopsies. They didn't want us to find the clots, the fibrous clots. They didn't want us to find the truth of what was happening. So a lot of medical examiners, they wouldn't do autopsies. Even funeral homes were refusing to do autopsies because it was almost like, the Black Plague, that don't touch the body, just burn it. They really strongly discouraged those autopsies, and now we know why.
Now, shifting gears, and let's go to some good news here as we come up on a 4-day weekend, at least for most folks. Cheap gas is back. Lowest Memorial Day gas prices in 4 years?
Yes, isn't that something? Now, this is a report that came out from AAA and Gas Buddy. They were both looking at the numbers and saying that it looks like this summer actually is going to be a great summer. As part of the 2025 Summer Travel Summary Survey, Gas Buddy said that the national average is expected to go down all the way to $3.02 per gallon. And what's important to keep in mind when we look at the nationwide average, Alabama's average is always going to be way lower than that. For example, right now, the national average is $3.08 per gallon, but the Alabama average is $2.73 per gallon. So we're seeing these lower gas prices again, well below $3 across Alabama, which is great for Memorial Day travel. My parents right now are probably just south of you. They're on the way to come visit me. They won't have to pay as much for gas this trip. So it's really good to see this happening. And as far as travel is concerned, you should expect some traffic this weekend. They said about 45 million people are planning to travel for Memorial Day. And the outlook this summer is that they're going to take multiple trips. People are expected to take multiple trips and longer trips. So that's really cool.
And by the way, how did that whole big music festival in that area go down?
Staying in my boots, in my opinion, was very peaceful, but I was in my living room the entire time. I didn't want to go out. But I did have the scanner on. I was listening to my police scanner. I didn't hear anything that was too concerning. There was several arrests, but nothing like you would think with 40,000 people per day coming down to Gulf Shores. So I think it was better this year, much better than the hangout is kind of what I'm hearing from the people who were actually there, not only law enforcement, but people that were just having a good old time with Morgan Wallen. And so I'll be interested to see what we hear with public comment. The city of Gulf Shores is now asking for people who live here to kind of give their 2 cents what they thought, because if you remember, this is the last year of the contract with the Hangout Festival company that's been putting on the Hangout Festival for 15 years now. So this was the last year of that contract. So the city of Gulf Shores was going to reconsider that and see if they need to continue, because it is a huge economic driver down here, or if they want to stop doing it.
Yeah, and I think as an outsider who, has family down there, spent a lot of time down there, they should keep it going. Like, I think it would be foolish to get rid of a huge draw like that to the area, especially if you can keep it somewhat under control. It doesn't turn into like an MTV spring break sort of situation. But I always appreciate you reporting your time, Erica. If folks want to check out what you're writing about, think about, how can they do so?
Well, definitely go to 1819news.com and see my work and all of my wonderful coworkers' work. You can connect with me by emailing erica.thomas@1819news.com. And don't forget, when you go to 1819news.com, subscribe to our newsletter, because we're going to send you a daily email, just one. We're not going to overwhelm you. We might send you a breaking news email every now and then if you really, really need to know something. But Alabama, we are going to tell you what you want to know and what you need to know. You're going to see stories on 1819news.com you're not going to see anywhere else. We are not worried. We're not scared to publish things, and we don't get paid for from special interest. So you can trust 1819news.com. Go to 1819news.com and sign up.
Well, I appreciate it as always. We'll do it again next week. Thanks, Erica.
Thank you so much.
Again, that's Erica Thomas, editor-at-large there at 1819news.com. I failed to introduce our guest today. Of course, Eddie's here. How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Just all right. It was.
Yeah.
Do you really have to wear a shirt that says "I'm a realtor"?
Who's the next one in line?
Should I just start wearing a shirt that says "I'm a hawk show toast"?
No, I've got better shirts for you.
What would you like me to wear?
I'm single. Would you like my number?
Oh my God. And instead of Byron Sheehy today, we have old friend. Well, he's not that old. It's just we go back to elementary school. We were roommates here for a few years. Jonathan Gary in the studio. How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Now, you were just telling me that you have an old school shirt from, I believe, I remember this from high school, and you just bequeathed it to your son because he just started lifting weights.
Yeah. So the shirt in question was do you have your tickets? And it points to the arms to the gun show.
Gun show, baby.
That's a great shirt.
Yep.
It really is. I had to make some alterations to it when I first got it because
Take the sleeves off.
Oh yeah.
I figured that was the alterations.
Yeah, I had to take the sleeves off.
Yeah.
And so there's actually a story behind it as well, because besides the shirt was just hilarious. I remember Joey.
Yes.
And
Troy, my other good friend Troy. And it was, I think, in the same building we were eating at last night. I think that spot has been all sorts of things where it used to be the old Wings or the old Baumhauers.
Oh yeah, yep.
No, so that was over in the Promenade.
Okay,
I think.
But I'm on a double date in high school with my good friend Troy. He's got a lady, I got some lady, and then you step in here, right? Because you literally did step in.
Yeah, I stepped in. So we go in after I get the shirt, and we're like, "Hey, man, where can I show off the shirt to, like that for people that we know?" And so I forget who I was with, but they were like, "Joey and Troy are on a date at this place." I was like, "All right." So I also added some theatrics. Found like old electrical tape, wrapped it around my biceps.
Nice.
And so like went into the restaurant.
Yeah.
Like maybe like a minute. So we made a beeline to where they were sitting at. Yeah, where y'all were sitting at. And I was like, "Hey, got your tickets?" And then I flexed to pop the.
Yeah, tell me you busted the tape.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't remember that, but we'll go with it for the story.
Yeah, no, I remember this story.
Okay.
Oh,
fair
yeah.
enough, yeah.
No, because I remember because this chick you just did not like.
No, I didn't like her at all.
And so
You were making him. He was making a move essentially, and I was happy to see it. Like,
okay.
Yeah.
It was more like Troy wanted to go out with this one girl,
Well, did that
and
impress
so
her?
and her friend wanted a date. So yeah.
No.
I can't believe that didn't impress her.
No.
I mean, he's got to impress some ladies at some point.
Well, if that didn't impress her, obviously she wasn't.
Obviously, I don't even remember that girl's name.
There you go.
Yeah,
So,
I don't remember their name.
It should
either.
be.
I just remember that she was a body next to Joey,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and it was.
Now, how did you handle this, Joey?
I think I laughed.
I mean, you had no idea it was coming.
Yeah, I thought it was.
As he's coming to you.
I believe
you're
my
like,
memory serves me correct, where I thought it was hilarious. And
That's
then
part of the date.
And then people are like, "What'd you order, Joey, on your date?" I'm like, "I got the hot lips." Oh, he got the hot lips, and it's just like I can't.
Yeah,
y'all are.
You're not gonna win with that. Nah,
My goodness,
that's hysterical.
goodness gracious.
So that's like, when was that?
That was high school.
Mm.
I was probably
Yeah.
junior year. I was 17.
Yeah,
Yeah, we were 17. And I don't remember the girls' names, but I do remember we were listening to a lot of. Remember the music we were listening to. Silvertide, the one album they ever came out with. You probably know.
Silver Chair. I don't remember
Silvertide, their one hit was "I Ain't Coming Home." So buckle up, mama, I ain't coming home. You'd probably recognize it.
yeah.
It's kind of just a old AC/DC 3-chord rock
Gotcha.
song with big guitar solos, and they actually performed in Montgomery. They're great, and it's a shame. It's one of these bands that comes out with one when they're 20-something years old, this kick-ass rock album,
Yeah.
and then they break up because
That's what
of
happened.
drugs and
Found a
women.
little success.
And it was just like, but what a great album that was. And then it was the first Maroon 5 album, which before they got too poppy and stuff, that first album, you're like, oh my God.
That's pretty good.
And especially when you're a teenage boy and all those hormones are going and that whole album's about you know what. You're like, all right. This is going to be a soundtrack.
I don't know what it's about. It's a great album.
I guess I had to wait till college for that to actually follow through. Anyway, I am very happy today because, again, Bitcoin hit new all-time highs. It's still early, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
It's still early. People are like, how do I buy a whole Bitcoin? I'm like, well, you got to have $100,000, but you can buy 100th of one. You can buy 1/10 of one.
They can buy a whole one if they want to.
If you got the money,
Yeah.
you can do that.
No,
I'm not telling you what to do with your money.
No.
Certainly saying don't go leverage. Don't take out loans
how large
or
is
anything.
this Bitcoin going to be? Do I need a safe to store it in, Joey?
Right. Well, here's kind of a basic case. It's been a rant I've been saving up because I am very obviously bought in on this and bullish on this. There is a woman who writes for the Financial Times who did a well-produced, it's very well-funded, well-produced documentary on the guy who runs Strategy, formerly known as MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor. And his crazy, what he has done is taken a 20-year-old publicly traded company that was a software solutions for business company that it was a zombie company and on the public markets. Nobody cared. Like they did all right in terms of providing software, but nobody really cared about them. They weren't gaining a lot of traction. And he's sitting there in 2020 on $500 million of cash going, well, what do I do? Do I give this back to the investors and stuff? So he himself personally buys a bunch of Bitcoin. Then he goes through the process of convincing his investors, his lawyers, his accountants, like everybody in the company, we need to hold Bitcoin as our reserve instead of cash or anything like that. And it's worked out beautifully to the sense that now he essentially is able to borrow money for free, essentially 0% interest on all these billion-dollar loans he's getting, and he buys up Bitcoin. And his stock trades at a premium of the Bitcoin holdings they hold.
Right.
So it's like this perpetual money machine where it's going up and up. And so you could look at this, like I've asked Brett McDonald about it, and go, this is not going to last. This is crazy. So it's one thing to think, okay, is Michael Saylor or the Bitcoin treasury strategy actually going to work out? It's working out so far. Right. I wish I had bought it back in 2020. It's up 3,000, 4,000%. It's better than the Mag 7 stocks. It's better than anything else out there. But so this Financial Times woman, there they do this bet. You pick the stocks that you think are going to blow up and the ones that you're going to short. She shorted MicroStrategy. Ooh. And so she ended up in the entire company of 1,000-something employees. She's almost like second to last. And she's the weekly columnist for the Financial Times. And so she got it so wrong. She's like, I'm going to investigate this. And so she goes and talks to Michael Saylor himself. Talks to a lot of people that have done very well buying into his company and his strategy, and other folks that have really just bought into Bitcoin in general, not just that company. Then talks to other big investor types that are like, well, this could just all blow up, and here's why. But it was actually a fairly reasonable documentary until you get to the point of, she goes, now, a lot of people believe that Bitcoin's price will always go up to a degree because it's scarce. I don't understand this. My teeth are scarce. I'm like, you're the columnist for the Financial Times?
Okay. Didn't you say she's like near the bottom?
On our stock picks, yes. Okay. I'm this was so dumb.
But you've never heard of someone's daughter or daughter-in-law needing a job?
Maybe.
Oh, Joey, it happens a lot. That's obviously very evident of this in this case.
So I'm like, you got a chance to talk to Michael Saylor for hours.
She doesn't know who that guy is.
Well, the whole thing that she wrote about, the whole documentary was about him. You have a chance to talk to him for a few hours. You could ask him, what do y'all mean by scarce? You could read the book that everybody reads by Seyfedina Moose called The Bitcoin Standard. Lays out the argument, and she's like, well, my teeth are scarce. Number one, no, they ain't. Everybody's got teeth.
And
to a degree.
But who wants her teeth? Her teeth have no value except to her.
And it's like, how are you going to right. It's like seashells. It's like, and so it's like, woman, this is the largest decentralized, most powerful, largest decentralized computer network in the world that is worth at least $3-4 trillion now in market cap. You're able to send those tokens on that secured network anywhere in the world without anybody being able to stop you. You're talking about something that is creating scarcity in digital space. That's always been the problem. Like, you make a photo, you can copy it infinitely, right? Like old video games where you would get money to buy stuff. People would literally farm that money and then people pay real money for it. But the problem with the digital space is everything can be copied to an infinite degree. Well, what if you could actually have a stable foundation and base that nobody controls? That's Bitcoin. And as you start to see more and more being brought in with clear regulation by the Trump administration, including them being very clear about backing it, I'm so upset and frustrated with Alabama because Texas just passed a strategic Bitcoin reserve.
So how many states have done that?
Off the top of my head, I know Texas and New Hampshire have done it. There might be others I just didn't see.
Has Mississippi done it yet?
Right.
That we don't feel threatened until Mississippi does it.
All right. And so here's like a reasonable case. Right now, it's at a little over 100 grand of Bitcoin. There's about $450 trillion in assets that are just store value. Mm-hmm. There's another 450 trillion of people like wanting money and things like we're going to use the money. It's going to be stocks, money that's actually working. But there's a whole half of the world economy, $450 trillion at store value. So it's stuff you work with, houses, it's land, it's art, it's gold, it's bonds. And so it's like, if you have a lot of money or you want to preserve your wealth at any level, what do you put your money into? You put them into these different stores of value. Gold right now, of that 450 trillion, gold's market cap is give or take 21 trillion. If Bitcoin just gets to gold, that's the question. How many folks, and it's already happening, think the most successful ETF right now is BlackRock's Bitcoin spot price ETF. The inflows are massive. So if Bitcoin goes to the market cap of gold, as more and more folks go, I'm not going to buy that next warehouse or piece of property or land, or I'm not going to buy more gold. I'm not going to buy more bonds, yada, yada, yada. I'm going to put more of my store value, long-term wealth into Bitcoin. Could Bitcoin get up to the same level as gold? It's right now in market cap 3-4 trillion. Could it get up to 21 trillion in market cap? If it does, you're talking about 10x from this moment. It's about $1 million of Bitcoin. And I think that's a very actually reasonable case. It could go much higher, much, much higher. I think Michael Saylor, the guy who I started talking about here, his reasonable case is it gets to about 13 million a coin by 2035 or something. As more and more folks, institutions, governments.
You think that's a slow rise, or is it going to have the peaks?
Well, it'll always be volatile, but the volatility, and it gets real complicated within how he makes the volatility work for his company. But the volatility is kind of a feature, not a bug. Like, if you're thinking, I'm going to sell some Bitcoin, I'm going to buy some Bitcoin, sell it like real quick. Yeah, you're probably going to get burned. Unless you really know what you're doing. Maybe you're good at day trading, and God love you for doing it. But when you look at it 4, 5, 10-year averages, everybody's thinking, well, this is going to go up because it's a fixed supply. And it is scarce digital capital. Saylor always talks about, if you could buy in the 1600s a big plot of Manhattan, land, real estate in Manhattan, would you not want that? It would be the greatest return over 300 years, 400 years. And he's like, that's what Bitcoin is for the digital space. And I really do believe in this, because you see AI coming online requiring more and more energy and more payments between AI agents. Like it's going gangbusters like crazy. You're starting to see more regulatory clarity from the U.S. government, and the U.S. government saying we're going to do a strategic reserve where we're buying in ourselves. States doing it, other foreign nations doing it, institutional players, as they get the clear regulations, jumping in on this. Well, I think this is going to be the foundation for the digital economy as it's growing before our eyes. That's why I'm frustrated, in particular with the state of Alabama. It's just like, guys, like all New Hampshire did was they said, we're going to authorize our treasurer to allocate this percent up to this percentage. We're going to put a cap on it of our current assets as a state into Bitcoin if he chooses. Yeah. That's all Alabama should do. Just give the professionals authorization when they think it's right to go about doing this. Like, don't make it just the discretion of the legislature. And that's messy, because this is coming, and it's coming quick. It needed to be done in this session.
Didn't they have something like this years ago with the Educational Trust Fund? Wasn't there and I'm sorry.
I don't know.
Ivy ran it. And if I remember, she ran it in the ground.
Oh, yeah.
And I
know
would
what
think,
you're talking about.
and the only reason I say this is I would think
The
like
pack plans or something?
something like that. So you're talking about the land in Manhattan. To me, and it's a generational thing, that is a physical, I can touch it. That's the part I think most people can't get over. With the Bitcoin is, say, whatever happens tomorrow, how can I get my hands back on that physical cash? And don't really know if there's an answer to that.
Well, I mean, if I wanted to sell all my Bitcoin right now and cash out, I could do it in seconds.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, but I think a lot of people's mind goes to just a worst case
all
scenario.
the worst case scenarios that you can come up that would destroy Bitcoin,
Mm-hmm.
destroy a lot of other stuff too, like EMP, or a volcano, or a quantum computer is able to hack the highest levels of encryption we currently know. Like, all that stuff affects a lot more than just Bitcoin. You're talking about catastrophic level, like civilizational catastrophe,
right?
Not just Bitcoin.
But if my land was still above water, I still have my land.
Yeah.
No, but I think honestly, I think that's it. People, it's the intangible. People can't wrap their mind around. I don't know if I trust this. You basically put it in a memory card. I know eventually with time, people will get used to that. Just like
and now there's so many different vehicles. Like maybe you want exposure to Bitcoin's rise, you buy that MicroStrategy company.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm not a financial expert. I'm not giving you advice. It is your own money. You make your own decision. I'm just excited about this. So you could get exposure that way.
Mm-hmm.
You could get exposure buying an ETF where you're not even holding this stuff. But you buy BlackRock's ETF on the spot price and get exposure
like a stock
game from there.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of institutional players are now doing instead of just holding it. Or you can buy it on Coinbase or
That's what
Binance or so many others, and you can have it held on the exchange there.
Buy it on the Cash App.
Now, I would not buy it on Cash App. So many freaking scams.
So many people, to say the least. Yeah.
And if you want to go, you got to research it yourself. You can do self-custody to where it's like a flash drive, essentially.
That's what I'd like to have, but again, just me in life, I would give me a copy. I'd have to give 2 other people a copy just in case something happened.
Well, and that's the thing. If you do self-custody and you forget your password,
right? And again, it's that intangible.
Right. Now, and I'm sure I haven't looked into the self-custody thing, but I'm sure they've got stuff that's like a fingerprint.
By now they have to, right?
Or it's like a pen and that only
Some type of biometric something.
But there are, there's Bitcoin that's been lost. I mean, there's people that had a bunch of
dump,
it.
Remember? Right. Lost that drive in the dump.
Yeah. And it's and the city wouldn't let him go inspect the dump. And he's like, I'll give you like half.
If you worked at the dump, would you be out there on your, sorting?
So it's just, it's fascinating to see this play out. For a long time, I've believed in the underlying technology, and I kick myself for not going with my gut. But the thing that was holding me back is what was the government going to do?
Yeah.
For instance, in 2014, the Chinese government banned any of their banks facilitating the buying of Bitcoin. The U.S. government could have done that. Under the Biden administration, we were in this weird regulatory limbo.
Don't ask, don't tell almost.
With Gary Gensler at the SEC, and it was just not clear where this is going to land. They could kind of say, nope, no banks can ever deal with this stuff. And that's why banks didn't want to touch it. They were in that essentially ambiguous gray zone in terms of regulation and the law. Now that a lot of that's being cleared up quickly, this is like most of the people around Trump in the financial sector are all bullish on this, including the Treasury Secretary, including Howard Lutnick, including David Sachs. So many of these folks that Trump's brought in. I think this is all my uncertainty and anxiety about the government at least went away with this new regime in there. And once he gets in there and you're seeing buy-in, like how many bipartisan things are being done in the last few months? Like very little, right?
Not much at all.
Well, they just did a bipartisan bill about stable coins. So even a lot of Democrats, you hear locally, it's one of the issues I've realized Republicans, Democrats, everybody loves.
Same page. Yeah.
Everybody's looked at it, researched it themselves. Are like, yeah. So I think this is here to stay. I mean, if it blows up, then you're talking about the largest blow up in probably economic history. But I don't see that coming unless you're talking about a world catastrophe that will hurt more than just, let's say, Bitcoin. And even in that situation, you're like, well, I got a bunch of gold buried. And it's like, you got guns?
You got gold buried?
Right. Yeah, it's like, and now how are you going to trade that gold for stuff? Like it's
link at a time. Like back in the day, you had the gold chains. You would sell link at a time. Baby.
So anyway, I had to go on my rant, especially that columnist for the Financial Times. Well, my teeth are scarce. It's like, you're a moron.
Everybody's kid needs a job.
Like
I'm telling you, man. I see it more and more.
Hey, this part of the program brought to you by Josh and Leslie Ryder there at Dylan Rings, and I'm loving the Facebook post today. Luna hopes everyone has a wonderful and safe Memorial Day weekend. Happy summer from Dylan Rings. Let's see if I can put this on the camera here. That's Luna, his dog, trying to bite the water he was splashing at her. And that dog, I've met the dog in person. That dog's awesome. It's like one of those little Chihuahua types where it's just like, I don't know if it's a Chihuahua exactly.
Full of energy.
Oh, God. I don't like Chihuahuas.
Oh, no?
No, they're just too
They want
yappy.
to attack all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah, but you've seen, of course, that clip of this is how you pet your dog. You just, you're feeling anxious to pet your dog, and it's anyway, y'all get by Dylan Rings. Maybe kick off the summer with some brand new jewelry. Of course, they have a lot of great jewelry currently in stock. Great inventory Leslie puts together from high-end to everyday jewelry items. And also Josh can do custom design. Maybe you want something truly unique. A lot of people have gone with a truly unique engagement ring design made by Josh.
Just the season.
They can also do repairs, spa treatments, appraisals, watch repairs, watch battery replacements. They do it all. I mean, if you have any issue in this area, just go see Josh. And I mean, he might be like, you might be the lucky out of a million that's like, oh, you stumped him. But you're not going to stump him.
I doubt it.
They've got your back there at Dylan Rings for all your jewelry needs. So y'all check them out today. Just stop by 119 Brown Springs Road here in Montgomery, just off of Atlanta Highway. And be sure to tell them that Joey and Eddie, the souls on the radio, sent you.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Let's face it, what our customers say about our business is the most important advertising tool. Here at Adams Drugs, we love our customers. We're here with Al and Amy Steinecker, Adams Drugs customers. Amy, please tell us how easy it was to transfer your prescriptions to Adams Drugs from the big box store.
It was one of the easiest things I've ever done. I went into the pharmacy on Bone Road and spoke with the pharmacist and told him we had not been happy where we'd been and would love to transfer our prescriptions. And he said, I'll be happy to call them. And that was that. And now when I call, I just say I need to have a prescription filled. And it's just that simple.
Al, what has your customer service been like at Adams Drugs?
It's amazing. You walk in, you're not standing in a line. They speak to you, call you by name, and say, what do you need today, Al or Mr. Steinecker? It's wonderful. It doesn't get any better.
Please come into any Adams Drugs location and let us earn your business. Visit us at adamsdrugs.net for the location nearest you. Adams Drugs is your independently owned Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care.
Alabama weather will never fail to surprise you. Our lawns hardly get a chance to have any downtime. And as usual, it's already time to start getting ready for summer. This year, save the hard work and aggravation and call Alabama Lawns, the River Region's leader in weed control and fertilization services. What makes Alabama Lawns the River Region's best? It's the people. They have the experience, education, and commitment to customer satisfaction. Ask your neighbors. Alabama Lawns has been the Montgomery Advertiser's Reader's Choice Award winner 13 years in a row. The Alabama Lawns staff is made up of long-term employees and agronomy graduates, and the staff at Alabama Lawns attend annual continuing education classes. It pays to have someone that knows southern grass types and how to keep them green and flourishing. Call Alabama Lawns today at 272-7171 and let them show you real value in a lawn maintenance service. Alabama Lawns, the company with black trucks and green lawns. 272-7171.
This Memorial Day, turn up the heat with the Home Depot. Find the perfect grill and patio set to keep the cookouts coming all season long. Grill up a feast with the Next Grill 4-burner gas grill, only $229. And complete your space with the stylish Glen Ridge Falls 7-piece dining set, now on special buy for just $499 with free delivery. Take your Memorial Day cookout to the next level all summer long with the Home Depot. See homedepot.com/delivery for more details.
When you switch to Progressive and bundle your home and auto, you could save hundreds, and that's a surprising amount of money.
Whoa, that's like farmer's market money.
That's like give me a gallon of that locally sourced raw honey money.
That's certified organic heirloom tomatoes in every imaginable color except red money.
That's let's get 2 pounds of pink oyster mushrooms money. I'm not even sure I like pink oyster mushrooms.
Guess it's time to find out, because you could save hundreds when you switch to Progressive and bundle. Then the world is your pink oyster mushroom. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
Hi there, I'm Kim Williams with Alabama Home Mortgage. For many years, my team and I have worked diligently to provide our veterans with top-notch service, as it is our honor to serve those who have served us in the armed forces. Madeline and I are certified veteran lending specialists. Nationwide, there are over 22 million veterans that qualify to purchase a home through the VA loan program. Yet less than 2 million of them currently have a VA home loan. Many lenders do not keep up with the ever-changing guidelines and benefits of the VA loan program. They are intimidated by the program, resulting in many veterans not obtaining VA loans. This is unacceptable. The VA home loan program offers service members and veterans with 100% financing. You've already paid your down payment. If you are currently serving or have honorably discharged, we would love an opportunity to discuss how the VA program can serve you. Give Alabama Home Mortgage a call at 567-4223 or visit us online at myalabamahomemortgage.com to complete an application on your time. Thank you for your service. NMLS 1586368, Equal Housing Lender.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of Riverside Chevrolet Wetumpka. If it's Chevy, it's Riverside. Best price, best selection. Check them out on the web at riversideusa.net.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. We are enjoying some very comfortable air for now with lower humidity. High today in the mid to upper 80s with plenty of sunshine. Mostly clear, pleasantly cool tonight. Overnight low temperature down to about 60. Friday, just about perfect. High in the lower 80s, more sunshine, and down to the upper 50s on Friday night. Saturday's a good day, still very comfortable, highs in the 80s, and then widely scattered showers and storms in the Sunday forecast. Showers and storms become likely on Memorial Day Monday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Budget Floors and More is your low price leader for everything you need for flooring and DIY flooring installation supplies. For the best prices on luxury vinyl plank, carpet, ceramic tile, flooring installation supplies, and more, shop Budget Floors and More, Hunter Lane across from Del Rey to Publix.
When news happens, you'll hear about it first. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Billy Clark.
Yeah, we're just looking up at Fox Business, the penny to stop circulation early next year. Oh, I can't remember the last time I used a frickin' penny.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you're a card guy most of the time, right? So you don't get change back in the penny department.
No. Yeah, and I don't ever carry cash. In fact, where we stopped on the boulevard, the restaurant we went to last night, Jonathan, had somebody walk up to me who probably looked in her 50s, 60s, but like she'd been outside a while. Had 3 kids with her who were all holding kittens. And as I get on my car, I don't know if you saw this.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, she goes, "Can you help my babies?" And I'm like, I did stop, and I'm like, "With what?" And she's like, "I'm just trying to find a place to stay." And I'm like, "Oh, I don't have any cash on me. I never do." And she's like, "Well, I'll just take whatever funds you got." I'm like, "Ma'am, I don't have money to put you and your children up." She goes, "Well, okay. Anyway, you smell good." And I'm like, "All right, have a nice day." What a weird interaction.
I'm actually surprised she didn't offer to reimburse you with food stamps because that's actually happened.
Oh, really?
Or they whip out their cell phone and say, "Well, here, go fund me."
No, remember when you got your TV, Walmart?
Yes. Yeah, you helped me take it out.
Yeah. So we're loading up the TV. This lady, I think you already paid for it.
Yeah.
She was like, "I'll give you like my EBT. It has like $800 on it."
No.
It's like that
Joe, you missed out on a good deal, man.
Like, ma'am, it's a Vizio. You can go buy one yourself. It's
not the
nice.
EBT card, I can't.
Man, anyway, let's go to RD. He's been very patient. Hey, RD, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. I really enjoyed that fellow's discussion of Bitcoin. About the only way a guy like me would buy Bitcoin was PayPal offers that as an option, and I wasn't sure what to do because on your tax return, if you got Bitcoin or something, you're supposed to check a box saying yes.
You only owe taxes if you realize your gain. So you gain a bunch of value, you sell some, turn it into cash, then you get a capital gains hit. But like mine went up over the last year, and you got to report that you have the holdings, but I didn't turn it into cash, so it's not a taxable event.
So it doesn't pay interest or anything, does it? It just fluctuates in value?
Yeah, it's just the return on value.
Well, before I hang up, let me tell you how much I enjoy and appreciate your radio station. One day last month, I was on I-85 headed to Jackson Hospital for a doctor's appointment, and you fellas pointed out there was a traffic jam at the Ann Street exit, and I was able to get off at the Perry Hill Road and make my appointment. And without you guys, I'd have probably been stuck in traffic for no telling how many hours.
Well, thank
you very much.
You just made me happy telling me that. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Well, RD. Like that sort of call. Yeah, and that's a recent thing. PayPal just got in on the Bitcoins.
Yeah.
And what's going to be nuts is if you start to see what's called the Lightning Network, which Jack Dorsey, the original founder of Twitter, has been working on. And without getting into all the details, it's a fast way to use like small amounts of Bitcoin and like send it. If that gets integrated into X, because Elon's always wanted, the original name for PayPal was X when Elon founded it. I think he wants to integrate in a lot of use X for your online, your say digital wallet. So a lot of this is going to be integrated more and more and more. You know, Jonathan, you're asking me what's on the agenda today. There's so many things. We got another quick break here, but we can, of course, get into the details of this awful shooting, killing 2 Israeli staffers at the Israeli embassy there in D.C. A federal judge blocks Trump's executive order to shut down the Department of Education and says you have to reinstate 1,300 people back into jobs. Well, what if they accepted severances? Is that not allowed? To make a voluntary agreement? China, very displeased with Trump's proposed $125 billion Golden Dome missile defense system. I could see why. Given what they're promising that Golden Dome can actually do. CNN declares chants about killing white farmers don't really mean that. That's just an old anti-apartheid chant.
Okay.
Open AI deal with iPhone designer Jony Ive is wake-up call for Apple. So you're starting to see, again, more and more players jump into this AI space, and I think it's going to be so quick, the innovation and iteration of this stuff, that who knows? It could be Google and Apple and the big folks out there innovate within and figure out something, but it could be startups that you don't even know their names.
And Google and them will just absorb them.
Right. And Elon just coming out with Colossus 2, where they're going to use 1 million new NVIDIA chips to add another essentially computer battery to their Grok, to their AI capabilities, which is also helping to back up Tesla's AI capabilities with the self-driving. So again, the space is just becoming more and more saturated with activity and money and investment. We shall see. RFK Jr. to present his 100-day Make America Healthy Again report at the White House before too long. And we, of course, can get into the big, beautiful bill. And Thomas Massie was a big no vote on it. And he gave his reasons why on the floor of the House. Plenty to get to.
Some of his reasons. That's good, though.
272-9228. This part of the program brought to you by Pest Pro Services, and they're at Pest Pro. Ashley and that great team are ready to help you with any and all of your pest control needs. Could be one everyday pest control. Just the basics, the spraying, checking around, making sure nothing's cropping up in and around your property. They got your back, and it's a monthly subscription now. So it's year-round service based on a monthly subscription. You can add to that basic protection, termite inspection and treatment.
Mosquitoes.
And mosquito treatment.
That's the one, man. It's worth every dime of it.
And I love that they get on a normal, because it's a monthly subscription. They're going to visit you 8 times a year on a regular basis at peak mosquito season. So you don't ever notice a mosquito when you're in the backyard or on the front porch. And you're a great test. We mention it often because you live up on the lake, like big trees, water. It should be
everything a mosquito would want. And my neighbors have that issue. I do not.
There you go. They should call Pest Pro.
It's okay, Joey.
I'm just saying they should.
Not all neighbors are nice, Joey. Sometimes it's fun to watch people suffer.
265-9990. That's 265-9990. Why would you want to suffer like Eddie's neighbors? Just call a Pest Pro today. When you want to know, call a pro. Pest Pro Services. And be sure to tell Ashley, the great team there, that Joey and Eddie, Phil's on the radio, sent you.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
The Tierce family has been your local Roto-Rooter service since 1964. Drain cleaning, plumbing repair, and those troublesome septic tanks, no problem. Technology has changed a bit in the last 54 years. Video inspections of lines to locate problems is available, as well as scheduling your appointment online. River Region residents have trusted Roto-Rooter for over half a century. You can too. Call today at 272-7130 or visit online at rotorooteralabama.com.
Call Roto-Rooter, that's the name. And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
No one wants to wait on service for an overhead door. With 20 years in the industry, you now have access to the best with All Access Overhead Door. All Access Overhead Doors offers prompt professional service at affordable prices on all service and new garage doors for residential and commercial locations. All Access Overhead Door serves the river region and can take care of whatever you need when it comes to your overhead door. Remember, you have access to the best. All Access Overhead Door. Call and schedule an appointment today. 320-2440. And like them on Facebook. They sell the best and service the rest.
The premier place the river region turns to for news, weather, traffic, and opinion. News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Like I said, welcome back. Quick break there. Let's go to the one big dissenting voice. There's some other guy that nobody knows that voted no as well.
Really?
Yeah, I don't even remember his name. Warren something. And it was unexpected because he had been playing ball, but he's like, no, this just doesn't make sense. And it was fine. It still passed. It will now go to the Senate for them to massage.
I think he was one of the people that knew it was going to pass anyway, so he voted no just to be a
It might be.
thorn.
Might be. And that's a lot of people taking down Massie, but I'm like, well, Massie's pretty consistent.
Right.
Like, you're either saying he's a grandstander like Trump's saying, or maybe he really believes what he says and is willing to be unpopular about it. So here's Thomas Massie on the floor yesterday. They passed it this morning, but let's listen into his logic of why he voted no.
Well, I'd love to stand here and tell the American people, we can cut your taxes and we can increase spending and everything's going to be just fine. But I can't do that because I'm here to deliver a dose of reality. This bill dramatically increases deficits in the near term, but promises our government will be fiscally responsible 5 years from now. Where have we heard that before? How do you bind a future Congress to these promises? This bill is a debt bomb ticking. Congress can do funny math, fantasy math, if it wants, but bond investors don't. And this week, they sent us a message.
Yep.
Moody's downgraded our credit rating, and the bond investors who buy our debt and finance our debt demanded higher interest rates on the 10-year note, the 20-year note, and the 30-year note. What does this mean? Very soon, the government will be paying $16,000 of interest alone per U.S. family. And what are we telling them? Instead of taking care of that problem, we're going to give you a $1,600 tax break. Under the taxing and spending levels in this bill, we're going to rack up, the authors say, $20 trillion of new debt over the next 10 years. I'm telling you, it's closer to $30 trillion of new debt in the next 10 years. Mr. Speaker, we're not rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic tonight. We're putting coal in the boiler and setting a course for the iceberg. If something is beautiful, you don't do it after midnight. I oppose this bill.
Gentleman's time has expired.
And by the way, I believe that's the Democrats cheering. I'm going to try to say this nicely. Shove it up your ass. Seriously. Like, y'all are even worse. So, like, yeah, the GOP also sucks, but like, oh yeah, it's like, God, you have no room to talk. He's the one guy standing alone. I think he makes a good point.
Yes, he does.
Anyway,
I disagree with him though.
Yeah?
Yeah, a lot of beautiful things have been made after midnight.
All right, then. By the way, we learned that Luna, Josh, Leslie's dog,
yes,
is a Pomchai, is a Pomeranian Chihuahua.
Oh, okay. What'd you call it now?
Pomchai.
Sounds like some kind of Asian fruit.
I know. Anyway, we do have to hit the stop there. Break first, though, brother. This part of the program brought to you by Montgomery Men's Health. And there at Montgomery Men's Health, they're ready to help you fellas out, especially if you just don't feel like you. And you know, you've been looking at all these national ads coming your way. You know, when you're a guy a certain age on the internet, all sorts of stuff will be thrown at you. Like, have you tried this?
Right.
Have you tried that? Well, instead of trying these things that aren't specific to you, why not actually go see a doctor? I know a lot of guys don't want to go see the doctor, but discretion is the word there at Montgomery Men's Health.
Right.
And it's quick and easy. They can help you out the same day that you call, make an appointment. So if you're feeling a lack of energy, motivation, and drive, including a decrease in sex drive, you're not sleeping well, lost muscle mass, weight gain, or especially around the middle, maybe it's low testosterone troubling you, get in there. Montgomery Men's Health will conduct a testosterone-focused lab workup plus a consultation for only $99. And they have low T treatments there that can truly change men's lives, including treatments that'll make you feel better the very same day. Men can experience after treatment higher energy, better gains in the gym, brother, better mental clarity, improved sleep patterns, a faster metabolism, and you usually even notice an increased libido. And again, you can actually book the same day you call. That number, 440-3663. That's 440-3663, or go to MontgomeryMen'sHealth.com to book your appointment today.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. House Republicans stayed up all night to pass their multi-trillion-dollar tax breaks package. Last-minute concessions and a stern warning from President Trump appeared to win over the holdouts to salvage what he calls the big, beautiful bill. Police say 2 staff members at the Israeli embassy in Washington shot and killed while leaving an event at a Jewish museum. The suspect yelled, "Free, free Palestine," as he was arrested. Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar identified the victims as Yaron Lachinsky and Sarah Milgram. President Trump is condemning the murders. And the Senate has voted to block California's first-in-the-nation rule banning the sale of new gas-powered cars by 2035. On Wall Street, the Dow had 106 points, the Nasdaq adding 119. This is SRN News.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free, no-risk consultation. 800-292-7875. 800-292-7875. You have nothing to lose, but everything to gain. 800-292-7875.
Rich Thomas weather, a service of Wiley Sanders Truck Lines, where over-the-road dump truck drivers are needed right now. Home twice a week and every weekend, must leave early on Sunday with Blue Cross Blue Shield. Call them now at 855-777-9785.
Rich Thomas weather.
Well, hi, everybody. We are enjoying some very comfortable air for now with lower humidity. High today in the mid to upper 80s with plenty of sunshine. Mostly clear, pleasantly cool tonight. Overnight low temperature down to about 60. Friday, just about perfect. High in the lower 80s, more sunshine, and down to the upper 50s on Friday night. Saturday's a good day, still very comfortable, highs in the 80s, and then widely scattered showers and storms in the Sunday forecast. Showers and storms become likely on Memorial Day Monday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
ASE's 25 and 25 has you covered. For just $25 in closing costs, you can tap into your home's equity. No hidden fees, no headaches, just extra cash. Visit your local ASE Credit Union branch today. Federally insured by NCUA, NMLS 420259. Terms apply.
ASE Credit Union. Your life, your goals, your ASE.
ASE, an equal housing lender.
From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, here's today's top stories. Montgomery police are investigating an accident that claimed the life of an Evergreen man. 68-year-old Clifton Moore was killed when his vehicle collided with an 18-wheeler in the 4400 block of Selma Highway Tuesday afternoon. Moore was not wearing a seatbelt and was pronounced dead at the scene. There were no other injuries reported. Troy lost its opening game of the Sun Belt Conference baseball tournament 4-2 against Old Dominion on Wednesday. The Trojans will be back for an elimination game today against Texas State at Riverwalk Stadium. The Sun Belt Conference tournament wraps up Sunday in Montgomery with the championship game scheduled for 1 p.m. Governor Kay Ivey has appointed Judge Bill Lewis to serve on the Supreme Court of Alabama. The move comes following Justice Jay Mitchell's Tuesday announcement that he was resigning his position on the state's top court. Mitchell didn't give an exact reason for his resignation, but says he feels called to play a larger role in the state. From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, I'm Sky Mosley.
Hey, this is Troy with All Access Overhead Door. We've been advertising with Blue Water, and trust me, it works. Take it from me. You need to get your business out there in the river region, you can count on Blue Water Broadcasting. And remember, if you need an overhead door repair, you can count on All Access Overhead Doors.
Our advertisers are our biggest advocates. Call us to find out how radio can increase your bottom line. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
Take a trip with two iconic bands, JJ Gray and Mofro. Together with the Marshall Tucker Band. May 22nd, Montgomery Performing Arts Center. The Ramblin' Rooster Tour. Rock, blues, and hits all night. Get tickets Friday at Ticketmaster.com. Together for a rare evening. Don't miss JJ Gray and Mofro and the Marshall Tucker Band.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Welcome back. Again, 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. Following hours of overnight debate last night, the vote on final passage in the House of the big, beautiful bill was 215 to 214.
Oh.
With two Republicans, Representative Thomas Massie and Warren Davidson of Ohio, joining all Democrats present in opposition. Representative Andy Harris, the leader of the far right, this is NBC News' write-up, far right House Freedom Caucus voted present. Get this, though. Representatives Andrew Garbarino, would you guess he's from New York? And David Schweikert, Republican from Arizona, accidentally missed the vote, but said they would have voted in favor of the bill. Garbarino, quote unquote, fell asleep in the back. No kidding. I'm just going to strangle him, Johnson joked to reporters. Adding that Schweikert tried to vote, but missed it by seconds.
You got one job.
But it was done after midnight. Or no,
Again,
it's done this morning.
This is the corporate world.
Yeah.
And two unemployed people right there.
Dubbed by Trump as the big, beautiful bill, the legislation extends the president's tax cuts passed in 2017 Contains an infusion of money to expand the military, beef up border security, and carry out his mass deportation plans. It also fulfills 2 of Trump's campaign promises, eliminating taxes on tips and overtime work. The bill also slashes spending in other areas, including hundreds of billions of dollars in cuts to Medicaid and the SNAP program, while rescinding a series of clean energy tax credits passed by Democrats in 2022. It raises the debt ceiling by $4 trillion. Taking a victory lap after the vote, Johnson told reporters that the massive package had been on the verge of collapse at times. There's a lot of prayer that brought this together. I'm just going to be very blunt about it. There was a few moments over the last week when it looked like this thing might fall apart, Johnson said, flanked by his GOP leadership team and committee chairman. And I went to the little chapel over here and got on my knees and prayed that these guys would have wisdom and stamina and discernment. And that's the secret here, and teamwork and mutual respect that everybody has for one another. And I think that's what defines the Republican Party. Johnson continued, "It's a great day to be an American. It's great to be a Republican." But Johnson acknowledged there is still a long way to go in the process. The speaker had lunch with Senate Republicans this week and said he encouraged them to modify this as little as possible. Any changes the Senate makes would have to be approved by the House. Congressional GOP leaders have said they want to send the final bill to Trump's desk for his signature by July 4th. Now is the time for our friends in the United States Senate to get to work and send this bill to my desk as soon as possible. There's no time to waste. That's what Trump put out on Truth Social. And by the way, like on Twitter, it was a tweet.
Yeah.
And I guess now on X, it's a post.
Okay.
What is it on Truth Social?
It's a truth.
It's a truth, which is just too cute by half. I put out another truth last night.
Truth bomb coming at you.
Oh, goodness gracious. So we'll see. There's a lot more in this thing because you are talking about like most of the domestic agenda. I think what they ended up doing with no tax on Social Security is they capped that at $4,000. It's like, really? Like, I know I've yelled about this. Let me say it softly. Somebody is forced to pay into Social Security their entire life, being told this is for your own good. This is your money in your own secured account that will come back to you when you retire.
Scam.
And then when they give you those benefits after you retire, that's your money, they tax it again.
Mm-hmm. And the bet is, and it's a safe bet, your chances are you're not ever going to collect it. You're not going to live long enough to collect it.
Oh, it's crazy.
Oh, also another thing too about Social Security, if you're collecting Social Security and you work part-time.
Oh, there's a big cap.
There's a huge cap. And if you go over that cap, guess what? You're getting taxed double, triple the amount that you were previously.
And most people don't find out until they hit that threshold.
Yep.
It's such a scam, man.
It is.
And then they use the most vulnerable people that really do need help as a reason why you can't touch it. It's like,
yeah,
it's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So
that's why I'm hoping I get my robots. I ain't got to worry about Social Security. They're just going to be working for me.
I mean, we'll see where this thing goes. I just, I think getting this passed probably is going to work out. I don't expect, because Massie is saying it's going to add trillions to the debt and it's another big deficit. I'm like, well, you're correct, but that's the 10-year window projection.
Right.
And, he complains, the deficit hawks complain about, well, you put all the cuts in later in the 10 years, and then the other folks, like you talk about the number, the tax cuts, how much do they cost us over 10 years? Why do we do the 10-year thing? Why?
Because it kicks the can far enough down the road that people will forget about it.
But it's not even a plan.
That's not a plan.
It's not a plan at all.
Do you have a 10-year plan? Do you know anyone?
Not really.
No, honestly, do you know anyone that has a 10-year plan?
No.
Well, maybe when I was in high school, when I thought things were different.
Right.
But yeah, reality hit my mid-20s, and I'm a day-to-day planner sometimes. Maybe a year out.
There's this thing like we're going to have next year called an election, and you'll have a new Congress, and then they'll come in and redo all this.
Kick this can again.
So maybe we can do 2 years.
Well, I might still be in office in 2 years, and you're going to hold me accountable.
Well, the 10-year projection is a nice round number. It kind of gives you that window if we stuck with this idea.
If we hit the lottery, this is our 10-year deal.
But I really think what they need to do if they want to actually make those of us happy who are currently upset over all the debt they continue to add. That number Thomas Massie threw out there.
Yeah.
Each family in America, each household, that means us three here, 3 different households, 16 grand, just in interest that we owe. I didn't take out those debts.
You got my signature on that?
Right. I didn't sign.
I ain't signed nothing.
I wanted to say the other thing. What, social contract? So wait, it's a contract that I don't have to sign, that I didn't consent to. And even if I don't vote, if I'm living here, you just assume I can consent. So if I can't dissent, how could I ever consent?
I'm just thinking you better go after some of them people that come to this country and have their babies. Go get the 16 grand from each one of them.
Just absolutely crazy. Let's go to the phones, talk to Robert. Hey, Robert, how you doing today?
What's up, Robert?
Hey, man, I'm enjoying your show. You and Eddie hitting it back and forth. I just want to throw 2 cents in. And I do like your previous segment with Massie. You know, I would have voted for it, but I wanted to hear what he said, and I happen to agree with him. It is alarming that the debt and deficit are where they're at. In other words, the deficit is what happens every year. The debt is where we keep placing it. And it scares me big time. So I'm right there with him.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, if you vote no, then the taxes, it's not a tax cut. It's a tax increase.
Yeah.
And
if you don't vote,
yeah.
Right. And then, but now I'm also a businessman. There's a couple of ways to get out of this situation. You know, you got to grow your portfolio if you're going to be able to pay off your debt.
Right.
And then when you take care of the wrongs that have been done, it might take some money, like securing the border, like no more freebies, no more free school, education, housing, all that stuff for people that can't even speak English. And I hate to sound that mean, but what I'm saying is this ain't the America where send us your poor, send us your everybody. No, we got a social structure now, and that social structure is going to kill us.
Yeah.
And the reason it's going to kill us is because the productive is paying for the unproductive.
Yep.
And that scares me too, but I agree with both sides. And one way or the other, it's going to happen, Captain.
Yep.
And we can ignore it one way or the other.
Well, I appreciate it, Robert. You actually led me right to where I wanted to go next. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Robert.
And where I want to go next is, you remember this guy, Antonio Gracias, who's been a longtime buddy, business partner of Elon.
Yeah.
And he discovered all the illegal aliens on, say, Social Security.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he just did a little sit down with the All In podcast fellas. They're doing like some big live event, like several days seminar in Miami. One of these rich yuppies.
Yeah.
And I know. And, he said, they started looking into, cross-checking a lot of the folks who are here illegally. And you got to wonder how many are on Social Security, how many are on Medicaid. But then the real question beyond just the money, how many voted?
Oh, good question.
Let's listen in. This is Antonio Gracias, who's a DOGE fella, one of the top people at
DOGE team.
In fact, he was very super secret about it because he's a big name in the business world. And he finally revealed a couple weeks ago. We played the big clip and the unveil. And I guess my advice to the GOP, they're all happy they got this big, beautiful bill across the line in the House. You really want to make the folks worried about the debt and deficits happy? Unleash DOGE.
Yeah.
Vote on rescission packages.
Don't think they're going to do. I'm getting
prove us wrong.
Yeah.
And it's not just unleash DOGE to save money. It's unleash DOGE to continue to look through what this government has become. At one point early in this interview, because he's brought in when Elon buys Twitter, and Twitter was a corporate mess. And they're like, we can easily cut
On purpose,
85%
though.
of the personnel and all this stuff. So they asked, and this is kind of Gracia's specialty. He helped Elon when Tesla was in trouble. Like he's that guy who comes in, changes things quick. They said, you've got a lot of experience doing this. What was it like looking at the federal government? He goes, well, if Twitter was the JV, this was the NBA. Oof. This thing is the most convoluted mess I've ever seen. There are a lot of good people in government. And in fact, the reason we need to carry on with the DOGE program is to help those good people in government. Most of what we find is actually we get the leads from those people that work in the government.
That's what I figured.
Who want to do the right thing. But there are bad actors also in the government. And then there's folks in the middle who kind of respond to incentives. They're like, I'm not going to rock the boat. I'm going to just wait out their retirement and get my benefits and all that. So here he is talking about how they started looking into not just illegals on Social Security and Medicaid, but on voting. Let's listen in.
You found some people who were illegal immigrants who registered to vote. This is confounding.
Yes, this is actually true. We've sampled a handful of states. And in those handful of states, we found people registered to vote, and we have found people who actually voted. And this is all being done by sampling, okay? So we are sampling DHS data and then have to go to the voter rolls, check the voter rolls, and then give that to HSI, Homeland Security Investigations, who goes and checks the voter record by subpoena and the cards you sign when you vote. We had already 3 arrests here in Florida, actually.
Wow.
And 1 indictment in New York. They illegally secured Social Security numbers through the process we talked about last time, asylum or some special program or whatever. And they registered to vote, and they actually voted in 2020 and or 2024. I just want to say this carefully. 3 have been arrested and 1 has been indicted. The one we indicted, I want to just stop on this guy for a minute, is an Iraqi national. He voted in 2020 in New York. He went to prison for shooting somebody, shot some guy's hand off, as charged, if I remember correctly, $160,000 or $70,000 of benefits through Medicaid. And we think, is now in Iraq because he's active on his Facebook page and the IP address is from Iraq.
Is that the tip of the iceberg?
I'm going to leave the data. So I'm now leaving the data and I'm entering the area of my opinion. My opinion is that this is the tip of the iceberg. How big the iceberg is, I don't know. And I don't want to speculate because I think it would be not the right thing we can do at this moment. I think we'll have more data over time. But for sure, if we can sample out of a database, and it takes an engineer about a day to find 20-ish cases, that gives you an idea of how many there are, right? Here's the reality. Every vote that is cast illegally in America nullifies the vote of an American citizen. It is your constitutional right to vote in America. And if we don't have a zero-defect system, we are violating your constitutional rights.
You found.
So think of it like a big old jar of jelly beans. You know how they have those crap flavors, the ones that taste like vomit and other things, like those silly jelly beans?
The black ones, taste like black licorice.
Let's say the vomit jelly beans are the person like he just described, who's here illegally, sapping the system of benefits, and voted in 2020. How could they vote? And 2024. It's not like they did a systematic, like using AI, let's go through the millions of people. They're saying like an engineer stuck his hand in the jelly bean jar and just by random, just grabbing one thing and cross-checking it, like he said, he found a vomit jelly bean.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you got to wonder if this keeps happening every time you just randomly put your hand into the jelly bean jar that it comes out vomit. Like, well, if we did a systematic review of this jar, how much is actually in here?
Well, not only that, I would hope that they have certain percentages. When you reach into that jar, if you do pick up X every time, anything above this percentage, automatically we need to look into this. Just like it's done in the corporate world.
Yes.
It's quality assurance.
So seriously, unleash DOGE.
Yeah.
You heard it earlier this week. Elon saying, I'm not going to donate more money. I think I've done enough. And it just came across as like a guy who put his neck out there. And in many ways, he got screwed. Now, my hope is he's not gone. That whole exchange yesterday between Trump and the South African delegation, Elon was there.
Yeah, he's standing right there.
Yeah, and at one point, Trump's like, I could bring Elon into this, but he's here to talk about rockets and Mars and stuff. I'm not going to bring him into this conversation. He's had enough. Enough has happened to Elon. No, that's so freaking funny. But one of the golfers that's Trump's friend from South Africa at one point looks at Elon and goes, we need your technology.
Yep.
We need
There's
your
two
help.
of them standing there, but yeah.
Right. And we'll get into, I watched that whole hour, or I went to dinner. I watched that whole hour of the South African president and his team sitting there with Trump and his team. And it's actually, I think it's a much more interesting story about what's going on in South Africa than the corporate media is presenting, which is abysmal.
Yeah.
Or the takeaway a lot of, I think, conservative media, right-wing media was taken away of just the clip of Trump showing them the videos and stuff. Like, of course, there's white genocide going on. I think it's actually a little more complex than that. And in a way where it's like, you better help South Africa out pretty quickly, or else you're going to get something. Well, you know how there are a bunch of socialists and commies in the Soviet Union early on.
Oh, yeah.
Before Lenin actually takes over. Yeah, that's the situation in South Africa. They've got this whole radical party, whether it's the Nazis in Germany or it's the Bolsheviks in Russia, that are there. And they're encouraging a lot of the stuff that is affecting a lot of people, in particular white farmers, but also, you know, many other poor South Africans, the majority who are black.
Doesn't want to go there. There's no reason for them to go there. The risk is not worth the benefit.
But essentially, it's a thuggish movement.
Yeah.
That is like stealing things, burning things down, torturing, doing awful things to people. One of the head of the labor unions there in South Africa, young woman, said she described horrendous things, trying to make the point it's not just the white farmers.
Right.
It's like what they do to everybody who's vulnerable. And they are saying we have this huge open border. So all these folks are coming in, adding to their forces. Yeah. And I mean, the exchange itself, as you watch it unfold, is kind of amazing, where it's a little tense, but the South African delegation, in particular, the president, was clever enough to make jokes and be like, well, if I could
don't have a plane.
Yeah, if I could give you, I'd give you a plane. I would take that plane.
I would take the plane.
Yeah,
Right.
I would take that plane.
To me, that really cracked me up because that was such a serious meeting they had going on, and the guy's obviously kind of caught back on his heels. He's like, "If I had a plane, I would give you a plane. Please, shut up. I'll give you a plane."
So we'll see. We can get into that. Also, we have Jeff Dice joining us at 2:00 over the phone, and look forward to talking to Jeff Dice, former chief of staff to Ron Paul while he was serving in the Congress. So, and they were in such a unique office there. Like they weren't playing the game in the same way. And I think in a way, Thomas Massie has taken that as a model, which annoys a lot of people in DC. They're like, we got to get things done for the team. It's like high school, but a lot of money and power at stake. Whereas, you know, occasionally you got that nerd. It's like, no, this is just wrong. And I just care about being right. And whether it was Ron Paul or in this case, Thomas Massie, I think a way you assuage people that share their opinion is you unleash DOGE to find more money to save, but also to look into not just money that's like questionable, Congress should debate it, but like just straight up fraud. Like that is illegal and it shouldn't happen.
We know there's so much of it. What's it been? 3, 4 months, 5 months that they actually started looking and they found this much?
Yeah.
Imagine if you really were able to look.
And my hope is DOGE isn't actually muzzled. They're just leashed.
Yeah.
Like it's seeing Elon still there, still seeing a lot of these folks doing the work more quietly. I think they're finding more than is actually being put out in public at this point. But Congress is going to have to do part of the job here. And that's what's got me a little worried. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. This part of the program brought to you by James Cole and Cole Plumbing. And they're at Cole Plumbing. James and the team are ready to help you with any and all of your plumbing needs. Could be an everyday problem like a clogged drain.
A drippy faucet.
Oh, that's
right now.
Fun.
You sleeping at night and you just hear it drip, drip. It's just money.
Like, why do I need to go to the bathroom now?
Cash money. Yep.
And then, of course, it could be like trying to take a shower and that low water pressure. And you're like, I'm not good. Like,
yeah.
Trump said the other day, my luxurious hair, I need a lot of water. It's hilarious. Need a lot of water to get this thing going. Or it could be of a more major issue, like a gas line leak.
Ooh, that can happen.
Or tree root invasion.
Or one of those leaks behind the wall, Joey.
Oh, God. Or it could be, it's like, is the ceiling sagging?
Oh, that's not a good look.
Or maybe, why is the backyard flooded, honey? Well, if they understand time is of the essence, and they have the technology and the expertise to get in there and solve the problem without creating even more of a mess, like tearing out a bunch of drywall, like, oh, wait, sorry, we thought it was there. We got to cut more out. Sorry about the dust and the caulk smell. Like,
it'll be all right.
And then, well, I'm sorry. Let's dig that huge hole here in the backyard. Wait, well, let's turn it into a trench. No, they're not going to do that.
Nope.
At Cole Plumbing, they can do it with precision and expertise. So y'all check them out today. You can always make an appointment online at coleplumbing.com or just give them a call direct at 279-8919. That's 279-8919. And just remember, folks, when you have trouble with your bowl,
call on Cole, Joey.
We'll be right back.
Want to carry news talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Don't you love the feeling of coming home to a clean house? Let Southern Bell's cleaning service get your home in order. Families in the River region trust Southern Bell's because they know Callan and Jesse will show up on time and believe in cleaning the old-fashioned way. They bring all their own supplies and specialize in full-service, residential, commercial, vacant properties, and construction cleanup. Estimates are always free. Call Southern Bells today at 546-0715 or follow them on Facebook at Southern Bells Cleaning River Region.
Trust and Will knows that we'll all eventually need a will. How about right now? Trust and Will makes creating your will easy, like while you're lounging on the couch easy. Trust and Will is designed by attorneys but customized by you, and all documents are state-specific and secure. Find your plan at trustandwill.com and use offer code RADIO now for 20% off. That's trustandwill.com, offer code RADIO. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. Visit trustandwill.com for details.
Are you tired of the mainstream media's biased reporting? Do you want to stay informed on the news that really matters to you? Look no further than 1819 News. At 1819 News, we bring you the latest in Alabama news, politics, sports, culture, and more. We've assembled a team of journalists with Alabama values dedicated to the truth and the truth alone. Visit us at 1819news.com today. That's 1819news.com. Subscribe to our newsletter. Honest News, Alabama Values.
This is your roving reporter, and today I am talking with an elk. Hey man, Mr. Elk, I was just wondering, what do elk do to take care of their money? Well, like most smart folks, we call David Ernest. You mean Alabama's most favorite asset preservationist? That's him, man. We call him up at 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. I see. Yes, he is our preferred money man. The money man with the money plan. You've been paying attention. Well, could you give us those numbers one more time? 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. And I just want to try to give you a heads up, man. Oh, what's that? I'm not an elk. Not an elk, huh? Well, then, pray tell, what are you? Knights of Columbus. I am not even going to make a comment. Well, the baby liked it.
Hello, everyone. Robbie Pelt with Capital City Roofing. If you think about it, your home is your biggest investment in life. Your roof covers your home, so why jeopardize your biggest investment on a roofer you don't know anything about when you can deal with a reputable roofing company like Capital City Roofing? We have an A+ Better business rating and the best manufacturers and workmanship warranties available. We do all residential and commercial roofing applications that are certified through the manufacturer to ensure you get the best material and workmanship money can buy. We also have your project in our best interest before and after construction has been done. Don't hesitate to call us if you have any roofing issues or questions. We will match any of our competitors' price and give you the same great workmanship warranty. We also give free estimates. Give us a call today and let us show you the difference. 277-3311. That's 277-3311. Or you can check us out on the web at www.capitalcityroofing.com. Capital City Roofing. We capitalize the roofing industry.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Pestruccelli, General Sales Manager and co-owner of Blue Water Broadcasting. Even in the digital age, radio remains the most powerful reach medium for connecting with audiences. Its ability to engage listeners, reach a wide and diverse audience, and create real emotional connections sets it apart from other forms of media. Radio's adaptability and easy access ensure its continued relevance now and in the future. Want to learn how radio can work for your business? Visit bluewaterbroadcasting.com. Blue Water Broadcasting, local folks helping local business.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
Rich Thomas Weather is brought to you by MPM Feed and Seed. It's time to get those gardens ready. From seeds to plants to fertilizer, MPM has what you need. Shop MPM Feed and Seed in Prattville, 1313 Highway 31 North. Open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, Saturdays, 8 to 1.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. We are enjoying some very comfortable air for now with lower humidity. High today in the mid to upper 80s with plenty of sunshine. Mostly clear, pleasantly cool tonight. Overnight low temperature down to about 60. Friday, just about perfect. High in the lower 80s, more sunshine, and down to the upper 50s on Friday night. Saturday's a good day, still very comfortable, highs in the 80s, and then widely scattered showers and storms in the Sunday forecast. Showers and storms become likely on Memorial Day Monday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
We're redesigning financial freedom at CB&S Bank. Make purchases at participating stores and restaurants using your CB&S Bank debit card through your mobile devices with Mobile Wallet. Charges and fees may apply from your cellular service provider. Contact your service provider for more information. Member FDIC.
Trustworthy, accurate, immediate. Carrying your voice across the river region. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. That's 334-272-9228. And it looks like we got a few calls coming in. Let's go to Wetumpka Jeff. Hey, Jeff, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good, man.
I have a solution for all this mess.
Okay.
You take and you try Biden for all his crimes, and you take all the money he got illegally through all of his little under the board dealings, and you pay off the national debt. Because all the money he stole, that should be enough to make a good dent in it.
I wonder how much he stole then, because I mean we're talking trillions. But I'm not against your idea. I mean it's not a bad idea at all.
And all these politicians that are up here in Congress and the Senate that are getting a salary plus all these extra money, take that money too. Just give them their salary, let them work like everybody else.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you could knock a dent in it.
Well, the problem is we got to get folks up there that will actually restrain the folks currently doing all the voting.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
If you do elect somebody with any wild ideas, they put them in
Shut
a box
them down.
pretty
That's
quick.
right. Put them in the closet.
Yep. He's fixing to
We'll
run
go
into
primary
a
him.
brick wall with us spending on this beautiful bill thing. I mean, he's got the right idea. I realize he's increasing everything, but with the tariffs and everything, that'll make a big difference.
Yeah, and that was not included in the CBO scoring.
not.
So, and if they follow up with actual rescission cuts, as they call it, like taking what DOGE found and then just using the Congress to cut it, maybe they're actually serious, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Nah, I just worry that.
Well, we got some that are good, and we got some that are bad. But in the long run, most of them are bad.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Well, I appreciate it.
We need some Christians in the Senate and get rid of all these weenies. That's the nicest word I could use.
Yes, sir.
Well, I think that's what it is. If you join the Church of Satan, you become a weenie.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Yep.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Appreciate the call, Jeff.
All right, thanks.
272-9228. Though that game, I don't know if I want to go back to playing that game. Who's the true Christian? Because, you look at the 1600s in England, that didn't work out too well.
No, it didn't work. It didn't work well in England. Didn't work well in Germany.
No. Yeah, there was a lot of killing in the name of your theology is wrong, and I'm like, you're both Christian.
Same with liberals. I'm more lib than you.
Oh yeah, well, there's plenty of that.
Yeah.
Let's go to Clint. Hey, Clint, how you doing?
Good day, guys.
What's up, Clint?
Hey, on your Social Security, I live below the poverty level.
Mm-hmm.
And my social is not taxed. But my military retirement is.
Wow. Yeah. Yep.
They tax it every paycheck. So.
Which is nuts, too. You earn that. Like, why are we taxing retirees?
I agree. I don't think it should be that way.
No, you're putting it all on the line and then to get taxed.
I mean, that's the way it is, though.
Yep.
You know? But I don't pay state income tax. So.
Just on the feds.
Just on the federal. Yeah. And that's a good tax in itself. So. All right, guys. Thank you for taking my call. Have
Thank
a
you,
good
Clint.
afternoon.
Good to hear from you,
Great
brother.
to hear from you, Clint. Good to have him back.
It
in
is.
town.
It really is, man.
Let's go to east of the Rockies. Hey, East.
What's happening with you, East?
Hey, good afternoon. Good show, guys. Hey, look, it's always asked rhetorically, but I want a real answer.
Okay.
How does somebody like AOC making $25,000 a year as a bartender go to Washington and end up with $25 million in her bank account? Somebody answer that question. Don't just ask it.
Well, I think what she said is, I'm not worth that.
Oh, okay. Well, that explains everything. Yeah.
I mean, I agree with
sure,
it.
Yeah, I should have known better.
Well, because the way I've understood it to work is you can't directly pay off, say, a member of Congress, but you can give their husband, their wife, a really posh gig.
A no-show job.
Yeah.
3 no-show jobs.
And you can pay him $500. You can pay him $1 million. You can pay him a lot.
Right.
There are also these, maybe you'll know more about this, Eddie, where people will sell a house for like a buck.
Way overvalued, yeah.
No, or they'll sell it to you like for real cheap, and then you can resell it yourself. Yeah, these sorts of things.
Or I give you a loan for your house for $2 million, and your house is worth $50.
Okay, yeah.
And you just don't. I forgive the loan.
Right. There's all sorts of little schemes indirectly.
There's an even better scheme there, because then I get the education system to buy my
especially
book.
a book that nobody reads but everybody's bought. Yeah, where you get all these think tanks and nonprofits buying up the books and like.
Where are those books stored, by the way? There's got to be a warehouse just full of old moldy books that no one's bought.
I think I've seen some at Dollar Tree.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say Upper Button around the corner, but that's too grade school for me. I'm sorry.
Oh! All right, guys. You have a great weekend, and thanks to all of our veterans out there that saw their people die around them. This Memorial Day means something.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Later.
Y'all get any? I don't really have any big Memorial Day plans. I think I want to do more music.
Yeah.
Because I redid my setup to where I can just sit down and go. I don't have to set everything up all at once every time. But you're going on the boat?
Yeah, I think grandkids are coming up one of the days. We'll probably all cook out and go on the boat and go down to Airbnb, make sure it's still standing.
What's the deal with, though, like, especially the older you get, like the more you're on the lake, the less you're on the lake.
It's not
where you're not,
necessarily
the
age.
boat's right there, and it's like you don't go out on
It's not an age thing. When I moved up to the lake, and this happens to a lot of people, I fished, the first few years, I fished every single day that I could. Within years, that changed. I got a better boat. I'd start fishing again, just phase away. And now, I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at my boat. It's parked in the water. And I'm just like, let me take this call. And, priorities.
Yeah.
Or, hey, Joey's on the show. I want to go hang out with Joey.
Always be closing.
Yep, that's your motto. Truly is. I mean, one of these days, though, Eddie.
You get a horse and live in the mountains someplace. Don't bother anybody.
Jamaica is a very mountainous country.
Eddie, you're making me crazy with all your Jamaica talk.
It's only going to get worse. We got a plan going for July 4th. We've got another house on the beach that we're going to stay in. So, yeah, it's only going to get worse from here.
So the next time you come back from Jamaica, are you going to come back with the cornrows?
Dude, I got them the first time I ever went. I think I was 21, 22. I got cornrows. I paid her $40 to put them in and $60 to take them out. Because as they said, you are tender-headed. I was almost crying. My head hurt so bad. And then I got sunburn on top of that. Looked like I had dandruff. Yeah, it was a few red stripes later. It was all good.
Oh, damn.
Because I've always wanted to cornrow my hair.
Dude,
I think it would work.
Just because I think it would be funny on me.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why.
I would love, honestly, if I had somebody to do it with, yeah. But when you're the only guy and you look around the resort and you're like, oh, I'm that guy. And then again, like I said, I got sunburnt and there was pain involved. And they laughed at me. I said, how much to take them out? It was $40 to put them in. She said, it's $60 to take them out. I was like, why? She said, look at you. And I was about crying, but she said, you're tender-headed. You got to pay.
You're taking advantage of me. I know, it's business.
That's right. It's just business, not
Welcome
personal.
to Jamaica.
That's how it went.
This part of the program brought to you by Alabama Home Mortgage. And if you want folks that are straight up in their business,
Yes.
they're not putting the pain on you going,
not at all.
No, they are great, absolutely great at helping first-time home buyers. So if you're new to the process, maybe you've saved up some money for a down payment, you've kind of thought through, I'm going to get in a position.
Yeah.
But you haven't ever done it before. Why not at least just call up Kim and Madeline there at Alabama Home Mortgage and start the conversation.
Yep.
And the first step is pre-approval. So you can actually understand how much home you can afford. Then you can get out there and they'll walk with you every step of the way, all the way to closing day. Or it could be you're in a position where you want to refinance. Maybe it's credit card debt. Those APRs are not cheap.
No, they're not.
What, 29%?
A lot of them starting at 29.
And that's a lot worse than, say, you get a mortgage for 7%.
Right.
Like, it's a lot better. Or it could be you're in retirement. As we were talking earlier, maybe you're on fixed income and you want to lower that monthly overhead.
Right.
Or you're about to enter into retirement and want to lower that monthly overhead.
Good
They
idea.
can do that for you there. And of course, they specialize in helping veterans take advantage of VA home loan programs. A lot of veterans haven't taken advantage of, but these benefits you earn through your service, and they know the latest there at Alabama Home Mortgage. It can steer you in the right direction, whether it's a VA loan to buy a place or to refinance a place. Y'all check them out today. Start that conversation at 567-4223. That's 567-4223. Or you can always visit them online, apply online at myalabamahomemortgage.com. There is a difference in mortgage companies. Let Kim and Madeline prove that to you today. NMLS number 1586368, equal housing lender. It's been a second since we've played Peter St. Ange.
Yeah, it has been a while.
And he's got a remarkable piece out today.
Okay.
That I just want to share with everybody. This is about the Biden economy. And
love that shirt.
Yeah, he's got style.
Oh, yeah. He does, man.
By the way, he said, get you a Japanese wife because my wife and a Bitcoin wife, because my wife told me to buy Bitcoin at 300 something. I thought the government was going to ban it. So I bought in at 20. Man, still though, he bought in at 20. I told some people that live here locally, they bought in big at 15.
Really?
Yeah, they bought a couple.
I hope they appreciate your advice.
I hope they did too. But they were also aware of it before me. Anyway, this isn't about Bitcoin. This is about the jobs reports Biden put out.
Oh,
it's pretty astounding. Let's listen in.
Joe Biden's handlers made up 1 million fake jobs to try and steal the election. Happily, the American people did not believe them, nor did they believe the lying mainstream media. So admits the Department of Labor in a stunning jobs revision that knocked nearly 1 million jobs off the 6 months leading into last year's election, taking job growth from a supposed gain of nearly 800,000 jobs, the Joe Biden miracle, to a loss of 164,000 jobs.
Wow.
Now, you may recall the endless lectures from mainstream media about the Biden miracle. Vibe Session was the journalist-approved gaslight for people living hand-to-mouth. Paul Krugman lectured us how inflation wasn't real. Those Walmart receipts were all in your head. And turns out the miracle was built on 1 million fake jobs in 6 months alone, along with impressively creative accounting on inflation. So I put out a report last year with my based colleague, E.J. Antoni, how Biden's handlers understated inflation by nearly 50%, suggesting we may have been in recession Biden's entire last year. Happily, Biden's lying handlers, soon to be Cackle's lying handlers, are safely in the past. Mentioned in recent videos how growth in real jobs is now on fire. Real jobs as in not government jobs, not even government-funded jobs, but honest jobs in the private sector, the real economy that pays for government jobs. Trump's latest job report showed a 177,000 gain in a single month, 90% of them private sector, with many more to come given the off-the-charts foreign investment Trump's pouring into America that could double or triple investment-driven job growth. Moreover, those jobs are going to native-born Americans. The Bureau of Labor Statistics separately released its employment situation count. Hidden in there was the juicy nugget that native-born workers increased by 1 million, while foreign-born workers dropped by 410,000, perhaps many of them self-deporting. So this is night and day from Biden, during which all the job growth was foreign-born, many of them illegals, undercutting native-born and legal immigrants alike. Now, I was looking forward to the Trump economy because he was promising all the right things: government cuts, deportation and deregulation, lower taxes, and more energy. But even I've been surprised how fast Trump has turned it around. I expected more Biden hangover, especially with Congress now respending the DOGE savings. Given these new revisions of 1 million fake jobs in 2 quarters alone, it is all the more impressive. It reinforces that once the revisions all come clean, we may have been in stagflation for years under Biden, paved over by our comically dishonest news media. So what's next? Brought to you by Unchained.com. The 3 big chess pieces on jobs are deportations, tariffs, and that investment boom. If those numbers on native jobs sustain, self-deportations could get into the millions, driving up native-born employment and wages. Meanwhile, if tariffs keep drawing trillions of investment inside that big tariff umbrella they have so far, that could double it. The last man standing, as always, is Congress. We'll see how bad the damage is in their upcoming budget. But even Congress will have trouble kneecapping this job market. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.
Again, folks, it's Peter St. Onge, and he does deeper dives. I'm going to try. I tried before the election. I think he was just too busy. And honestly, when we're doing our show, he's sometimes on Fox Business, right. So I get it. But I know the guy, and he has responded to my messages, and I'll try to have him back on because he's fantastic. Just the little doses are great, but he's a lot of fun. Very insightful, crazy, great, fun life. So I always appreciate his insights. Again, coming up, we have Jeff Deist. Right. He'll be over the phone to begin the 2:00 hour. Look forward to talking to Jeff there. Now, there's another thing that just, of course, this week it came out that Scott Adams has the same cancer, aggressive cancer, as Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he looked at it, he's like, I'm sure a lot of y'all could guess it. I honestly thought the message he gave out when he finally came out and said, I have this cancer, was beautifully stoic and at peace with the fact. He's like, well, the party ends at a certain point. And he's been saying for a long time, don't pursue happiness. You're never going to catch it. It's not real. Pursue meaning. Chase meaning. 80% of your time in life, work hard at chasing meaning. Other 20%, have some fun, pleasure, enjoy yourself. But if you chase that meaning, you take a little time so you don't get burned out, you have a little pleasure, you'll probably find that happiness might come around. But if you chase the happiness itself, you're probably chasing a phantom. And of a lot of people, as this came out, are giving great honors to him and just homages to him, like saying, here's how much and one of the lines that stuck in my head was, he was kind of our Twitter dad.
Yeah.
Like he really is. Go read some of his books about reframing your brain, your mindset, and loser think, and so many amazing books. And he called the Trump phenomenon in 2015, before everybody else. He was mostly a Democrat and liberal his whole life. Yep. And so it's a shame to see this guy. Well, he doesn't have much longer. That's what he was saying. But this new clip came out today, where, of course, everybody's commenting on his condition. Well, a certain someone reached out direct to Scott Adams and actually said, well, is there anything I can do to help you? And it wasn't just once, it was a few times. So I'm going to play the clip. This is from Scott Adams' stream, I believe, earlier today.
Today I'm home, and I've been getting lots of people reaching out because of my recent health-related news, and but I can't talk to everybody. Like it's just continual messages coming in, and I have to kind of pace myself. So I see a phone number coming in. Somebody's calling me from some number I don't recognize, something in Florida. And I sent it to voicemail. And a little bit later, I thought, I better check that voicemail and see if that was anything I need to deal with. And the first sentence in the transcription, because the phone gives you the text version of the voicemail as well. The first sentence is, "This is your favorite president." And I thought to myself, no. Did I just send the most important person in the world to voicemail? And it turns out that I had. It was Trump. and he was just calling to check in. Now he left a semi-lengthy little voicemail, just saying he was checking on me, heard about my health situation, and then he says, you can call me back on this number. Now, obviously, I don't call him back, right? Because that would just be ridiculous. It just was a nice thing for him to say, because he called me. You could call me back on this number. So I didn't call him back on that number because I thought it's not like he's sitting at the Resolute desk waiting for my call. I thought that whatever it is he's doing has got to be more important, than randomly taking a call from me. So I don't call him back. Hours go by. It's the afternoon, same day. It's the afternoon. And all of a sudden another call comes through, also from Florida. And I thought to myself, no fucking way. There's no way he's calling me again. And I answer it, and it's Trump. And apparently he'd heard my situation, and he had lots of questions. I won't get into the details of our conversation because that would be inappropriate. But he was just checking on me. And he had, he wanted to make sure that I was getting everything I needed. And that was it. But at the end, the strangest thing happened at the end. At the end of the call, when he found out, the situation was kind of dire, and I was still checking out some things that might help. He said, if you need anything, I'll make it happen. And he meant it. He was completely aware of our, let's say, parallel journeys from 2015. He mentioned it. And it was just the most incredible, weird, hard to understand situation. But boy, was it fun. So anyway, that's my story.
Man, it's a good one.
I think this really highlights President Trump's the right to try policy when it comes to cancer. I mean, if you have terminal cancer, why not try?
Yeah.
Like, you're going to die anyways.
Right. Might as well give you the satisfaction of trying everything.
Well, exactly. And then also knowing that what you tried also can lead to an eventual cure or better treatment. How can you not be behind the right to try? And I don't understand why you're not for that.
And I think it also speaks to just who Trump is. If you read The Art of the Deal, I mean, there's all the deal making stuff, and we bought this property and fixed it up, and I did this negotiating tactic. But one of the big takeaways is how much that guy's on the phone, and he means it.
Mm-hmm.
Like when he's calling up, he's genuinely interested in, I'm calling you for this, and he doesn't forget people.
So true.
He's always working the phone, and still is as president. And so I think Scott Adams was so taken aback because it's like, well, how many things does he have on his plate right now that he wants to take several minutes out of his day to call me? And it's just stuff like that.
Yeah.
That reminds you of the human being, not the, say, political persona of Trump. It's a shame. I really do think, too, especially a lot of young men and young women, too, but a lot of young men. Scott Adams was, in a way, an internet dad.
Yeah.
And it's a shame to see tragedy to befall him. But again, the way I think he's shouldering this, the way he's now publicly facing this is, I can't think of anybody who's done it better.
I agree.
God bless that man. 272-9228. Again, we should have Jeff Deist joining us over the phone as we kick off the next hour. This part of the program brought to you by Bo Goodson and the Goodson Group. And there at the Goodson Group, Bo and his team are ready to help you whether you're looking to buy or sell in the Montgomery and surrounding areas, looking to buy or sell a home. And of course, they have management services available there for a reasonable fee at the Goodson Group. Should you want to rent out your home, great idea in the River Region real estate market still, especially all the turnover at the military base and a lot of people renting these days too. So rental could be highly lucrative. And then the Goodson Group is also home at the Bo Goodson Real Estate School, one of the most highly acclaimed credit real estate programs here in the state of Alabama. To learn more, you can always go to thegoodsongroup.com or just give them a call direct at 551-0225. That's 551-0225. Bo Goodson and the Goodson Group, great sponsor here of the program. Final hour coming up.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusada, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. Now it's on to the Senate for President Trump's big, beautiful bill that passed an early morning House vote. The Supreme Court effectively ended a publicly funded Catholic charter school in Oklahoma, dividing 4-4. Thursday's outcome keeps in place an Oklahoma court decision that invalidated a vote by a state charter school board to approve the St. Isidore of Seville Catholic virtual school. The school would have been the nation's first religious charter school. Tennessee has executed Oscar Smith for the 1989 murder of his estranged wife and her 2 sons. The 75-year-old Smith was executed by lethal injection this morning. On Wall Street, stocks remain higher, the Dow up 180 points, the Nasdaq adding 145. This is SRN News.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare, and I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call. I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing. Attorneys, this was meant to be funny, so please don't sue me, especially my friend Kenneth from Black River Falls, Wisconsin.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-613-5454. 800-613-5454. 800-613-5454.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of Wiley Sanders Truck Lines, where over-the-road dump truck drivers are needed right now. Home twice a week and every weekend, must leave early on Sunday with Blue Cross Blue Shield. Call them now at 855-777-9785.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. We are enjoying some very comfortable air for now with lower humidity. High today in the mid to upper 80s with plenty of sunshine. Mostly clear, pleasantly cool tonight. Overnight low temperature down to about 60. Friday, just about perfect. High in the lower 80s, more sunshine, and down to the upper 50s on Friday night. Saturday's a good day, still very comfortable, highs in the 80s, and then widely scattered showers and storms in the Sunday forecast. Showers and storms become likely on Memorial Day Monday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Hey, this is Peaches and Clean, Powerful Carpet Cleaning. Do you have area rugs and oriental rugs that you have been delaying cleaning? Give us a call at Peaches and Clean. We offer free pickup and delivery in the Montgomery Tri-County area, or check us out at peachesandclean.com.
1819 News with Andrea Tice.
Good afternoon. I'm Carl Brady for Andrea Tice. The U.S. Postal Service is asking Alabama residents to pay a little more attention to their mailboxes this week. This is National Mailbox Improvement Week, and postal officials say now is a good time to inspect your mailbox and perform any needed maintenance and upgrades. Acting Postmaster and CEO Doug Tolino says your mailbox is the first point of contact for receiving birthday cards, letters, and important documents, adding that a well-maintained mailbox helps to ensure that every package makes it to its intended destination safely and efficiently. More Alabama news coming up next.
Some of the greatest blessings is just having the people that care about you, to have someone that's just going to love you and make you feel important. They encourage you to be in church. They encourage you to be in prayer. They encourage you to be in your Bible. Now it's a part of my day every day. My house parents planted seeds in me that you can see where those seeds have sprouted in my life and helped change my life.
Big Oak Ranch, a Christian home for children needing a chance.
Alabama's oldest prison inmate died yesterday in a Birmingham hospital. Floyd Lee Coleman was 106 years old. Coleman had been serving a life sentence for the killing and rape of a 7-year-old girl in Bessemer. He was originally convicted in 1979, but pleaded guilty when a new trial was ordered in 1984. Walker County Sheriff Nick Smith has filed a lawsuit against the Walker County Commission over hiring authority for his office. Smith alleges that the commission unlawfully declared itself the hiring authority over deputies. The sheriff seeks to void the commission's actions, reinstate affected deputies, and to prevent commissioners from making future hiring decisions. For 1819 News, I'm Carl Brady.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Jenny King, the king of clean, delivers reliable, high-quality commercial cleaning services through a proven franchise model that empowers local business owners. Jenny King's franchise owners receive the training, support, and resources needed to succeed, while clients benefit from tailored cleaning solutions backed by a global brand. Jenny King ensures consistent results, trust, and success for everyone we serve. Go to JennyKingCleans.com and find out how we can help you. That's JennyKingCleans.com.
Jenny King, the king of clean.
Since 1966, Alabama Sheriff's Youth Ranches has been more than just a place to stay. It's been a place to belong. For children facing hardships through no fault of their own, our ranches provide more than shelter. We offer a warm home, a loving family, and a future filled with hope. With open arms, we welcome these young hearts, giving them the love, structure, and guidance they need to heal, grow, and thrive in a warm Christian environment. Together, we can give Alabama's children the chance they deserve, a chance to dream, to succeed, and to feel truly cherished. Every donation stays within Alabama, directly impacting the lives of the children who need it most. Join us in making a difference. Visit AlabamaSheriff'sYouthRanches.org. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and download our app from your app store. We'd be honored to have you as a part of our mission to lift up Alabama's youth. And remember this, it's easier to build boys and girls than to repair men and women.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
In a democracy, this is a Trump country. We live in the Southeast. We drink sweet tea. We don't drink socialist Kool-Aid. Yeah.
Joey Clark.
Oh, welcome back. It really is a beautiful day today out of Montgomery, Alabama. Beautiful Alabama. You know, for how dumb our politics can be. Driving to Auburn the other day for Easter weekend. What a beautiful place this is.
Thank God the politicians can't control the weather.
Don't give them any ideas. Right. Well, honestly, don't be playing into tropes. There are enough of that stuff going on right now. Please don't do it, Kanye.
Right.
Joining us now, regular guest of the show, Jeff Tice, former chief of staff to Ron Paul for a few years, also president of the Mises Institute for about a decade. He's now with Monetary Metals. Jeff, how you doing today?
Hey, Joey, I am in Auburn, this beautiful place. So I'm doing well. It's gorgeous, low humidity spring day.
Yeah, I miss living there. I don't necessarily miss school, but I miss living in Auburn. Great spot. And my brother's plan, his wife doesn't want to live in Alabama until they're 60 and up and they can retire in Auburn. So I think it's a good idea.
Well, you know, we've got plenty of old people here, Joey. We need some young ones like you.
Well, you know, maybe I'll have to figure out where I'll end up here before too long. Montgomery suited me just fine for now. And in fact, I saw you tweet about something the other day, and maybe Eddie's phoning and taking another call right now. He could get in on this. This idea that, hey, young man, just rent a place. And, I've rented all my life. And it was never even in the cards. I didn't have the money for a down payment, these sorts of things to actually get a mortgage. But are we missing something by being a generation of renters? What is there something beyond just the dollars and cents of actually owning a home?
Well, of course there is. I mean, you can just compare a neighborhood which is mostly rentals versus a neighborhood which is mostly not. And you will see how people are caring for their property and having concern about, let's say, crime or litter or zoning or city services or garbage pickup or whatever it might be. I mean, this is just natural. In other words, with ownership comes responsibility and concern, and I think we all understand that intuitively. Now, this is also a cultural thing. You can make an economic case for saying, well, gee whiz, if you took the money that you're spending on a mortgage, and in most housing markets, not all, and not so much today in 2025, but in most housing markets, the monthly payment on a rental is less than the monthly mortgage payment on the identical rental. So let's just assume that, and then you say, well, when you factor in maintenance and property taxes and wear and tear and depreciation and new roofs and mowing the lawn and all this crazy stuff, you'd be far better off taking that monthly payment and putting into a Vanguard mutual fund or something like that. And in the long run, you would make more money just being a permanent renter. You would have more money in the bank, let's say at 65. And there's a lot of truth to that. Again, it depends on the timing of the housing market. We also have to look, culturally. There are places like Germany and Switzerland where about 80% of people rent. In other words, there's a professional management and landlord class in those countries. It tends to own and manage many, many, many units. And so they have the economies of scale that come with that. Just like if you live in a large apartment building, they kind of have one plumber or something to deal with all the units. And so there's some savings there. So we can understand that as well. However, Germany and Switzerland have much stronger tenant protection. It's harder to evict someone, especially a long-standing tenant. Let's say an older person. There's a lot more rent control across Europe, etc. So we're not always comparing the same thing when we look at other countries. But I mean, there's a rootedness. There's a psychology that comes with owning a house, and you don't really own it. Obviously, the bank does because you got to pay the mortgage until it's paid off. And obviously, the city or county or school district does because you got to pay the property taxes or they come put a lien on it. But nonetheless, there's a rootedness and a connection to neighborhoods and a concern for neighborhoods that comes with home ownership. And I don't think you can put a dollar value on that. And I don't think we want Americans to become a nation of renters. I think it's just an unhealthy social arrangement. And I get a little tired of people sort of being dismissive towards, let's say, young people under 40 or under 30, because it really is true that housing, the cost of housing, especially in urban areas, cities, has risen dramatically faster than average income. I mean, that's just a fact. And we got an awful lot of baby boomers who did nothing other than be born at the right time and ride a housing wave.
Yeah, and right now it does seem like, well, I've had these discussions with Eddie a good bit, and I think you would understand this more than others than when I try to make this point that I think Eddie's right in terms of the arguments we've had that if you want to have, say, a long-term investment that gains value over time, housing was a good option. But it seems like, especially for the average person, say a working class person or upper middle class, it was really the only long-term way to really hold on to your wealth, because money, like putting money in a savings account, isn't gaining much anything. And it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. It'd be nice if a house could just be a house that, yes, maybe has long-term value and stakes in the community, but you didn't have to buy into it like it's some long-term investment and just more an investment side. It seems like this is another product of our fiat system and the inflation that's endemic to our economy.
Yeah, it absolutely is. The housing market is enormously distorted because of that. And also, let's remember, America's vast. We could have been building a lot more housing than we have. I think unchecked immigration plays a big role in that as well. And of course, we could also get rid of some of the zoning and permitting rules that make it impossible to build, let's say, $100,000 starter home. And we all know this. I mean, Eddie would be intimately familiar with this, is that we, statistically speaking, we know when people make a 20% down payment on a house in cash that they saved up, not that their parents gave them, and when the purchase price is no more than 3 or 4 times their annual household income, the default rate's really low because people don't want to give up a house. They don't want to give up that $20,000 down payment. When you get into a housing crash like we had in 2008, a lot of people were upside down and ended up walking away from their homes and just taking the credit hit. You end up with people who are sort of trapped and can't move because in order to sell their house, they'd have to write a big check instead of getting a big equity check. So that's a real problem. But I would argue, as you alluded, Joey, that these booms and busts are not just the market. I would say that the interest rates have an awful lot to do with these booms and busts, and also just for whatever reason, whether it's regulations or not in my backyardism or whatever. I mean, we just don't build enough houses fast enough. And I mean, when you're younger or you're less high income, maybe you don't get to live in Manhattan or Beverly Hills or Seattle or the city of your choice. So be it. But boy, from a purely selfish perspective, I so much wish we could get young people to come and repopulate Birmingham and Montgomery and even some of these old small towns, the Dothans, the Selmas of Alabama, where there's real opportunity for cheap housing. Yeah, sometimes it's in a bit of a marginal neighborhood, well, of course, but you don't have to go out there and spend $500,000 on a condo in Dallas. You can spend $150,000 on a beautiful older home, maybe in Alabama.
Again, folks, we're talking to Jeff Deist, and shifting gears here. How do you think Thomas Massie is feeling right now? I know, given your work with Ron Paul, I'd imagine y'all went through some of this on certain votes. I love seeing this guy kind of stand against everybody else in the party and on the team. But so, what do you think of his stand right now? And what is it like when you go against the entire government, it seems?
Well, no matter how even-keeled you are, and he is certainly that, Ron Paul was certainly that, I'm sure it wears on him. I mean, there is a lot, especially with social media today, there is a lot of pressure. And, a contributing factor is that the Republican majority in the House is so slim. If they had a 20-vote majority, and Thomas Massie were, in their view, grandstanding and voting no or voting present or not voting on certain votes, maybe they would take it a little different. But when you've got such a razor-thin advantage in the House. But you know what? I mean, of all the things that people want to get angry about, worry about, Thomas Massie's the least of them. I mean, he's not the problem, put it mildly. And the fact that he's drawing attention to things and especially spending, I think we absolutely need him. And let's not forget that the GOP has tried to primary the guy in his district several times, and they've always failed miserably. They tried the same thing to Ron. He's very popular. I think he's certainly a contender to replace Mitch McConnell as the junior Kentucky senator. And, I think he's the guy who has some independent wealth from having sold a company which he began to develop when he was still at MIT in grad school. So he's not beholden to anyone for needing a paycheck. His wife died less than a year ago, which also makes the person, I think, really revisit what's important. And I just don't think the guy can be browbeaten by far lesser men like Speaker of the House.
Yeah, and it's frustrating. And I've been saying early in the show, maybe some goodwill to actually, do some rescission cuts, actually unleash DOGE. I'm not expecting that. I would not bet on that, but it would be a pleasant surprise to actually see some cuts in here. But I guess the argument coming out of the White House, in particular, the Treasury Secretary Bessent, is we want to come down from the Biden levels. We don't want to come down too fast because that's going to hurt GDP. So they're still kind of counting on the whole government spending thing to, juice up these numbers, which is it's kind of a shame at this point.
Yeah, it's an absolute farce that GDP includes government spending, and that's what makes it a useless statistic. If you look at Turkey, the nation of Turkey, which is nobody's idea of a stable economy at present, they've had horrific hyperinflation in the last 10 years. They had very high GDP growth after the crash of 2008, from 2008 to 12. they were ahead of all the European countries in GDP growth because they were borrowing their you-know-what's off. And unlike America, where we just spend it on useless programs or, defense contractors, at least they built bridges and highways and infrastructure with it. But you still got to pay back those loans. And unlike Uncle Sam, they have to borrow in dollars or euro. They can't borrow in Turkish lira. So that's a cautionary tale as to where we could be headed. And, if you're going to measure the output of an economy, there are a million better ways to do it than including government spending, because government can literally spend at a deficit, at least the U.S. government can, for years and years and decades, and sometimes almost a 2x deficit. In other words, the spending in any given year by Congress doubles the total federal tax receipts. So, I think people just have to give up on GDP. What really matters is government spending relative to the size of the economy of the nation. That's what you should keep your eye on. Just spending as a percentage of the broader economy.
Now, shifting gears again, what a fascinating scene yesterday in the Oval Office with the South African president and his whole delegation and team alongside Trump and his entire team. A lot of folks are seizing on the moment where Trump rolled in the TVs, like, dim the lights. And, showing some pretty heinous chants and within the parliament itself and huge rallies essentially saying, kill the Boer, kill the white farmer. And we were talking about yesterday, like, why is it that the corporate media, the corporate press, and the Democrats, why are they so up in arms over 50 Afrikaners coming into the United States? I've got my theory, but I want to hear what you have to say.
Well, it's bad. I mean, first of all, they imagine these people as colonizers or interlopers in South Africa. And in fact, their descendants have been there 400 years, and South Africa was essentially empty in 1600 or 1650. It was wide open. Yes, the Dutch arrived from different shores, but that doesn't mean that anybody was there. So, and these are not wealthy people. I mean, these are not the wealthy South Africans in the fancy parts of Cape Town and Johannesburg who are seeking to get out of Dodge and come to America. These are the very lower and working class farmers who are salt of the earth types, who are not at all wealthy people, who are being murdered. And it's not just that they're being murdered and having their land seized, but they're being murdered in horrific ways. I mean, you read about some of this, it's just absolute stomach churning. And look, I understand the argument this is not a genocide in the sense of, yeah, there's some nasty characters in the parliament there. There's a leader of the party who said some really nasty things, but it's not. I wouldn't call it an official state policy to kill Boer farmers and seize their land. I mean, I think we're a step away from that, but I don't care. Right. I think they're good people, and we should offer them an opportunity to get out of there and come to the U.S. if that's what it takes to get them out of harm's way.
Well, and the corporate press was just miserable, like they usually are, in how they were framing this. But I thought, we were just reacting in real time, seeing the Trump rolling in the TV. I actually sat down and watched the whole hour 15 minutes. And even after the TV was rolled in and the exchange was actually fascinating, it started to remind me of like the Bolsheviks competing with the other communists and socialists in Russia. And it's just like a different type of party, or the Nazis in Germany, where South Africa needs to get on top of that party that is calling for this incredible violence very quickly. And you heard pleas from the South African delegation to Elon saying, we need your technology. And then some of the description from the woman who was heading up labor unions in the country said it isn't just white farmers, though that is a lot of it, but the horrific deaths described to vulnerable, poor black folks in that area. It just seems like you have this thuggish element that is not a normal political party. And I would hate to see the same way, say, the Bolsheviks took over the Soviet Union play out in South Africa. That really would be genocide then.
Yeah, it's frightening. And I think unlike the Western powers that be, the Chinese view not just South Africa, but all of Africa, the entire continent, is wide open and not being exploited. And the Chinese are, yes, they are concerned about their international image, but they're less concerned than we are. And I think you could see China really rising as the West sort of cedes control over Africa, right? I mean, up until really into the 1960s and 1970s in the last century, French, Belgian, you name it, there were still colonies, still British colonies in Africa. And now there's been a 50-year vacuum since any of that. And conditions haven't improved. And that's the question that Africans can't answer. Why haven't things improved since then if you were in fact oppressed by this colonialism?
Well, and I mean, one of my favorite people from the libertarian world that I was in for so long is Magat Wade from Senegal. And I think the answer is you need freedom, you need property rights, you need just basic rule of law and let it rip. But for some reason, the communist or socialist mentality, along with the warlordism, even worse things, it just has a grip on so many nations there.
Yeah, I mean, there were actual communist and Soviet influences. If you look at the history of Rhodesia, for example, and who was arming the militants in the uprising against the Ian Smith government and the Rhodesian army. I mean, yes, the Soviets were literally arming the opposition. The Rhodesian army was just so skilled that they couldn't be overcome until just the sheer numbers of the demographics of the population turned that country into one of the most fertile farmlands on earth into an absolute basket case with hyperinflation. I mean, it's a sad story, and I think right now, America's got to be worrying about itself, and we can't solve the problems of places like South Africa.
Now, last one, it's more a silly question, but people have noticed it in me. I used to yell at the top of my lungs, Rubio. Like, I couldn't stand the guy. And I have to say, since he's become Secretary of State, he seems like a completely different person. And it seems like he's stumping, not for, say, non-intervention, but at least realist foreign policy. And he also he seems to be carrying himself in a way I never saw him in the Senate. Am I wrong to be like, man, I'm kind of impressed with this guy, or maybe it's just such a 180 that it's got me paying attention. But what do you make of Rubio's shift now that he's Secretary of State?
Yeah, let's just say you're easily impressed, Joey. I mean, you're a big softie and you're mellowing in your old age. But I will say the Senate, what's a little odd is the other day I saw him at the hearing, and Senator Tim Kaine from Virginia brought up the South African refugees. He said, gee whiz, come on, these aren't real refugees, etc. And so I thought it was a little odd to have two colleagues, two people who were colleagues of, 6 months ago, they were colleagues in the Senate, to have one colleague attack another one that way, that there's no longer any sort of collegiality, even when the witness is a former Senate colleague. So that struck me. And I mean, I can't speak to his intelligence or his skill at politics or at diplomacy. I mean, whether he's had an actual change of heart or whether he is under Trump's thumb, I think is the question. In other words, is this really him, or is he sort of been told that this is him? But either way, he's the official mouthpiece of the State Department, and that official mouthpiece is taking a less belligerent tone, and not only than the Biden administration, but the Trump 1.0 administration. And so we have to applaud that.
Absolutely. Well, I always appreciate your time. If folks want to check out what you're thinking about, writing about, how can they do so?
Please follow me on Twitter at Jeff Dice, all one word.
Appreciate it, Jeff. And we'll talk again soon. Thanks, sir.
Thanks, guys.
Again, Jeff Dice, always great having that gentleman on the show. I mean, I guess you caught a good bit, Eddie, you were nodding your head through the conversation about housing and whatnot.
One of the biggest things with housing, as far as I'm concerned, it's property rights. And that's one of the few rights that we have left and they're going to try to take them from us. I mean, my big picture government wants you to rent everything. They always have. And him using the European example is very true.
Have you seen how much DeSantis in Florida is going to the mat?
Yeah.
Saying no property taxes on your homestead? That's
honestly
amazing.
It needs to be that way. If you think about it, you're told this, you buy a house. Well, until you buy that house, you don't realize you're really renting it. You're renting it from the bank and you're renting it from the government. And even when you pay that bank note off, you're still renting it from the government. You can own that house 35 years, get behind on your property taxes, and lose it. And that's just, I'm sorry, but that's just not fair.
Well, and somebody was pressing him saying, well, in the place like Miami and Tampa and all the big cities, they got tourism and they can afford the hit not having the property tax on the homestead. What about rural places? And DeSantis, like, number one, you're overstating how much it's going to cost the rural areas. Number two, I'm happy to give the counties a little extra funding so you're not taxing people on their homes.
Well, plus so many people
mentality.
are having to pay so much more, especially in Florida, for just insurance. They need that break just so they can afford their insurance on their house. That's something I see on the horizon for housing. That's going to be the next big challenge, and it's coming up slowly but surely. But people are constantly calling me, "Hey, my house payment went up." I said, "Well, I'm no expert. Let's go over your bill." "Oh, it's your insurance." Every single time your insurance has gone up, and and an insurance company tell you that's the cost of doing business. That's rebuild cost. That's new. But a lot of people can't afford that. It's just will end up pushing you out of your home unless you can say, you know what, I'm going to self-insure. I own my house. I'm going to keep X amount aside just for things like that.
Yeah.
But that is a very dangerous thing to do.
Well, and his point on South Africa very much lines up with mine. I think the Democrats are so frustrated, and CNN and NBC and all these, they were crazy about this. And I think it comes down to how dare you say these oppressors are being oppressed.
Yeah.
Like, that's not true at all. And how dare you question our right side of history narrative that we constantly are throwing in people's faces. If you, though, watch the entire hour, now it's you don't have to, obviously, that full exchange, beyond Trump showing the video and whatnot, you actually get people, whether it's a South African president or many of the folks in that delegation. In fact, they pointed to one young man who was with them in the delegation saying, this guy, when I first met him, was part of that party who wanted to kill the boar. And look at him now. He's doing, and everybody's laughing.
Well, a lot of it, I imagine, is just education and just making people aware of what they're really doing.
And they're like, we need help. We don't have the technology. 40% unemployment. We have a immigration problem ourselves, illegal immigration problem.
Big time.
And it's all sorts of folks. And I think a lot of the animus is directed towards the boer, the white farmers, but anybody who's vulnerable to these gangs, essentially. And that's what the South Africans were describing it as, that it's essentially like the gangs that were in El Salvador. It's like the gangs you might have in your country.
But it's their job to reel them in.
Yeah, and that's where they're like, help us. We don't have the tech to actually, we don't have the means to deal with this. And
Talk
we need
about
help.
just a resource-rich nation that's pitiless, and honestly, it's a lot of it's by their own design. I mean, I won't say they did it intentionally, but they will not get out of their own way. And most business investment, you look over there, you go, man, you couldn't have a better idea, but the risk is not worth it.
By the way, I'm smirking because I look up at the screen. Bitcoin's new all-time high. It's now a little under that high, but it hit an all-time high earlier of $890,000. Wow. That's what it currently is, but it went to 111,999. Just shy of 112. And it came back
You couldn't
down.
buy any right then, Joey, just to push it over? Come on,
man.
Come on.
No, I mean, I'm not made of money. Like,
but you could have.
I did all my
You could've made a
allocations
few
earlier
phone
in the
calls.
month. I'm doing all right. I'm very happy. It beats a savings account, folks.
By far, you actually get money instead
Right.
of going, oh, wait, by the time I pay all these fees, I didn't
Right.
make any money last month in my savings account.
Well, I've got the CD here that's kind of.
Oh, God, don't even get me going on them.
So my great grandfather, he sold a place in New Jersey that appreciated, so he had a lot of cash.
Nice.
And he parked it in CDs in the late 70s.
Okay.
So he got like
He's okay.
20% return.
He's okay then.
Like, he made a
When
ridiculous
you
amount.
see the numbers now on banners that they're bragging about that a CD will get you, you just keep
And
driving.
what's so funny is he was so used to that sort of return on a CD that when finally one of them rolled over, and I think it was at Max here in Montgomery, he goes back in to renew it, and they like wanted to cut it to what it normally is.
Yeah.
He pitched. Think of it. It's a Polish guy from New Jersey who I think got to 8th grade, worked in a paint factory his whole life, like got disability because of the cancerous stuff that gave him, all this stuff. Like he's like an 80-something-year-old Polish guy from New Jersey yelling at you in the bank. They gave him like a much better rate.
Oh, I bet.
And then they told him, we're not going to do this
We're not
again.
going to do it again.
We're not doing it again, Joe.
I will see you next time.
Like, my God, he got good there. He was the one who told me, and I should have listened to him earlier as I was going off to college. He said, Joe, Stay away from women and save your money, because you can't save your money when you're.
You did listen to him, didn't you?
No, not initially.
Oh.
Yeah, not initially. A lot of money wasted. Though, but said the guy who at 90 had like 2 or 3 girlfriends. So whatever.
Yeah.
You never know. And drove a new Cadillac every year.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. He was living the
He's
life.
styling, baby.
He was such a curmudgeon too. And he never used his dishwasher when he was still living on his own. He looked at it, he was like, what the hell is this?
What do I do with this?
And so it was just him, he just hand washed his plates. And he goes, what the heck is, so when we'd come over as like kids, like little kids, like 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, he had candy in the dishwasher. That's where he stored the candy.
What? That's a big old candy
to get
jar
the candy, he'd be like, okay, you got to dance, you stupid kids. He put on polka music and be like,
dance for me.
Hey, to be fair to the grandpa, like what grandkids are going to look in the dishwasher for candy?
No, it's smart.
That is smart. But I mean, honestly, the first time, I'm like, hey, Pop's crazy, but the candy's in the dishwasher.
We got to hit this break real quick. Be right back.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
What's your biggest investment? More than likely, it's your home. So treat it that way when you hire a painting contractor. At PBS Painting, there are no gimmicks, no $99 specials. Just quality painting and someone who treats your home with the same respect that you do. At PBS Painting, we have been painting for years and look forward to many more years to come. With PBS Painting, the job gets prepped properly, whether it's cleaning, scraping, or priming. We always use quality products, which is a must for a quality paint job. So if you're looking for a painter that doesn't need upfront money and is on the job at all times, then please give me a call. Scott Bowers and PBS Painting, 294-5122. That's PBS Painting, 294-5122. Look at some of our work on Facebook at PBS Painting Montgomery.
Hi, this is Bo Goodson from the Goodson Group with your Real Estate Minute. Recently, I met with 3 different owners of homes who had the same problem. They wanted to sell their house quick and sell it as is for cash. All 3 people were approached by different investors that said they had cash for their home, signed contracts, only to find out they were not personally going to buy their homes, but to find a buyer willing to pay more than they offered and pocket the difference. It's called wholesaling. Offer a contract to buy a house at a certain price, up to price to other buyers, and pocket the difference. I urge you, don't fall for it. You want to sell your home quick, use a licensed professional realtor, as I have been for 48 years, keeping promises to get homes sold quick. For all the details, call Bo Goodson at the Goodson Group at 221-2883 or 551-0225. Call Bo Goodson at 221-2883.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com. This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number 1 in the number 2 business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, HIMS can help. Through HIMS.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/radio, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but HIMS can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Rich Thomas Weather is brought to you by MPM Feed and Seed. It's time to get those gardens ready. From seeds to plants to fertilizer, MPM has what you need. Shop MPM Feed and Seed in Prattville, 1313 Highway 31 North. Open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, Saturdays, 8 to 1.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. We are enjoying some very comfortable air for now with lower humidity. High today in the mid to upper 80s with plenty of sunshine. Mostly clear, pleasantly cool tonight. Overnight low temperature down to about 60. Friday, just about perfect. High in the lower 80s, more sunshine, and down to the upper 50s on Friday night. Saturday's a good day, still very comfortable. Highs in the 80s, and then widely scattered showers and storms in the Sunday forecast. Showers and storms become likely on Memorial Day Monday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Budget Floors and More is your low price leader for everything you need for flooring and DIY flooring installation supplies. For the best prices on luxury vinyl plank, carpet, ceramic tile, flooring installation supplies, and more, shop Budget Floors and More, Hunter Lane across from Del Rey to Publix.
All the headlines the mainstream media won't touch. Your News Talk station. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
(272-9228) if you want to get in on the program. That's 334-272-9228. If you're watching the stream and you don't recognize the guy on the right, that's my good friend Jonathan Gary. And seriously, how long have we known each other? Since what grade? Like
kindergarten.
Kindergarten? Yeah. we were OG. We were originals there.
Yeah, the OG.
Mm-hmm. From St. Bede. Yeah. I don't know. Were you in preschool there?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I even did the preschool crap.
Yeah, I didn't. I can't remember the last time I was at that school, but I just remember growing up, like being at that age. Everything was so big.
Oh, it's tiny now.
No, yeah, everything's tiny. I was like, what in the world?
Well, let's go to the phones. It's been good having you here. Like just a familiar face. It's like someone who's actually known me all these years.
Yeah, I'm not using you like Eddie uses you.
Huh? Yeah, I use Joey to pick up hot women. Not.
Or I'm a realtor. Look at my shirt on the stream.
Well, yeah.
Always be
I bought like a 6-pack of these. I think for a while I wore a different one every day. And then I was like, you know what? I feel like a schmuck. I'm not going to do that
Always
anymore.
be closing. Let's go to TS. Hey, TS, how you doing?
I'm quite well. Who was running the board during the commercial?
Joey. He's the
Oh
board
my
runner.
gosh, he must have been talking to his only best friend for 30-something years because we listened to the same stuff 2 times, I know.
2 times.
Joey?
2 times.
At least 2 times.
At least.
Anyway.
Well, on a good radio
At least.
commercial, though, it does take a couple of times of being out there before people, starts getting traction.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to defend the radio
I
station.
have I have them memorized by now. Hey, Eddie.
Yes, ma'am.
Eddie, what was that?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, ma'am.
I was listening, but I don't know where my ears went. You were talking about if you own a home in Alabama and you do something, it's not good. What was the something?
If you sell it and don't use me as a realtor, I don't know. I don't remember.
You forgot already?
Oh, yeah,
Lord,
this happens
I'll watch-
awful.
I'll-
Yeah. Yeah, I'll
I'll
go
play
outside
the
literally
show.
and somebody will go, hey, what you guys were talking about? I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
After a while,
Oh,
you're just having a
oh, oh.
conversation.
What, do you think we remember what we say?
We don't even write it down before or after.
That's scary. You guys
yeah.
stop. Please.
You stop
Okay.
first.
Oh,
Or I'm going to play Cold Plumbing again, all right?
no. Okay. That St. Bede was a cool school a long time ago. Is it still a good school?
Yeah.
I thought so.
Montgomery Catholic's doing very well, the whole from young to high school.
How
Doing
many
quite
students
well.
do they have
Okay.
out there, you know?
I don't know. Jonathan would know. Your kid's out there.
Yeah. So right now, in my son's class, he just finished his freshman year there, and he's at about like 77 kids are in his class.
Okay.
But sports wise, like especially in football, because Catholic has turned good.
Yes.
The past several years, if they win, so they currently play at the 5A level for football.
Yeah.
But if they make it to the playoffs and like win either 1 or 2 games in the playoffs this upcoming year, then they move up to 6A.
Oh boy!
But
when we played, it was what, 2A or 3A?
Yeah, that's what I remember. Catholic being 2A.
3A when we were.
And no, then we moved up to 4A for whatever reason.
Yeah, we had played Geneva. And we got whooped in the first playoff.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Well,
it's still a good
small
school.
classes, small grades like that are nice.
Yes.
They're real. I'm a retired educator. It's super. Okay, back to DeSantis. I am proud of him for doing the homesteading thing because their property taxes, I think, are outrageous.
Some of the highest. Yep.
Yeah, I'm proud of him. I mean, I'm blessed. I am finally homesteading on one home, and it does make a difference, even though our taxes.
Yeah.
Well, they've gone up, but they hadn't gone up like a lot of places. Texas is real high too.
Mm-hmm. North Carolina is another one.
Really?
Oh, yes.
Geez, and those poor people up there living in nothing right now.
Mhm.
Still. Boy, that was sad. Okay, I'm going to let somebody else talk to you guys, and have a great Memorial Day weekend.
Thank you, TS.
Appreciate it, TS. Let's go to James. Hey, James, how you doing?
Joey, how am I supposed to follow that now?
The best you can.
That's it.
The best I can. Okay, here we go. Here we go, Joey. This is my best shot. You mean to tell me there's 2 of you guys in there now? You and your best buddy from like when you were, I don't know, what, 5, 6?
Yeah, well, we knew each other.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
You guys ever fight?
No.
You're not best friends then.
I can't imagine that.
Well, there was like a weird fight club in 2nd grade. Do you remember that? Where it was on recess. Everybody would go fight or something behind the hill.
You guys never shared licks with each other? Never made each other bleed?
I don't know.
Yeah, not real friends.
What I do
Ain't nobody
recall
got time
is
for that.
Eddie saying, I didn't know what we were talking about, and when I stepped out. But the WEF, World Economic Forum,
Mm-hmm.
what is their 2030 plan for all of us to be renting and happy?
Yeah. You own
Is that
nothing
not-
and be happy.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So here's the tale, or I hesitate to say lie, that used to be told to us, and you don't hear it that much anymore. A home doubles in value every 10 years, or that's what used to be said. Well, let's just say you got a couple that's 30.
Mm-hmm.
They go out and they purchase this home for $250,000. Well, by the time they are 60, if I do my math right, you double at 40, that's 500. You double at 50, that's $1 million. And by the time they're 60, it's worth $2 million. Now, who can afford this home? If they were to sell, to size down or take equity, I mean, am I making any sense? I mean, is this just some sort of myth that's out there, or?
Yeah, it's a big myth. Think about the houses just along Montgomery downtown that were built back in the 40s.
Right.
They're worth less now than they were in the 40s.
And then there's certain spots that is prime real estate where it's a house built 100 years ago and it will always have value, but it'll keep up with inflation, so to speak.
Correct. However, as far as, in other words, just to make that blanket statement, that is not accurate. It just depends on where you are.
Sure.
And if you pick and choose well, but who knows what somewhere is going to be in 30 years or 40 or 50.
Right. Think of those people, James, that bought in Wetumpka, like back in the 70s, when they thought, I'm in Wetumpka, I'm in the country, I'll never have to deal with the city. And they put their house right on 231. But right now, they got a house on one of the busiest highways in the state of Alabama.
I'm following you.
Yeah.
It's happened everywhere. It's
Yes.
kind of like where Walmart is in Prattville now. It used to be a hayfield.
Exactly.
40
Christmas
years
tree
ago.
farm. That's all that was there. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so I mean, I'm there. I'm there in lockstep with you, Eddie, on that particular aspect. But yeah, I mean, we have overbuilt, and it has caught up with us. Of course, there's certain people that shouldn't hear that. You guys have a nice day.
Thanks, James.
See you, James.
This part of the program brought to you by Josh and Leslie Ryder. Again, they're Dillon Rings. And at Dillon Rings, they are a full-service jewelry shop. Say you've got a precious stone in a ring of yours.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not seated securely. Like, it hasn't fallen off, but you notice it jingles a little bit.
Ooh, that's not good.
It rattles a little bit. Well, get it fixed before you lose that gemstone. My goodness, don't wait.
Fix itself.
And of course, if it's like something fully broke, they can fix that too.
Yep.
But go ahead and get it put together before you lose something valuable. Or maybe you have a piece of jewelry you wear all the time, all the live long day, and it looks like you looks like you wear it every day, all the live long day.
Need to get that thing a
spa treatment. It can shine and shimmer like it's brand new again. And of course, they have an amazing inventory, custom design work by Josh Ryder. They can also work on watches. You can get a battery replacement there, and they can do it all. A full service jewelry shop there at Dillon Rings. Y'all check them out today. 119 Brown Springs Road here in Montgomery, just off Atlanta Highway. And be sure to tell them that Joey and Eddie, the fellas on the radio, sent you. Let's go to line 3 real quick here. Hey, you're on there. Who's this? Hello?
This is what happens when you answer the phone.
I know.
They get so intimidated, they go into shutdown mode.
I don't know. And maybe it's just a technological malfunction, but I'm still going to hit.
You are a rude, terrible person.
And by the way, I forgot to tell you earlier during the Jeff Deist interview.
If you get a cough, please leave the room.
Time to change air filters.
I know, because something was getting you, because you never cough anywhere else.
No.
Anyway, we'll be right back.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Hey, it's Mike from Owens Optical here in Montgomery. We've been advertising with Blue Water for almost 15 years now, and I can confidently say our business and our foot traffic has definitely increased since we've been on the radio. It works. Thank you, Blue Water, for supporting us and helping increase our customer base.
Radio reaches over 90% of everyone in the river region. Shouldn't your ads be out there where your customers are? Call us to find out more. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
This is your roving reporter, and today I am talking with an elk. Hey man. Mr. Elk, I was just wondering, what do elk do to take care of their money? Well, like most smart folks, we call David Erdis. You mean Alabama's most favorite asset preservationist? That's him, man. We call him up at 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. I see. Yes, he is our preferred money man. The money man with the money plan. You've been paying attention. Well, could you give us those numbers one more time? 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. And I just want to try to give you a heads up, man. Oh, what's that? I'm not an elk. Not an elk, huh? Well, then, pray tell, what are you? Knights of Columbus. I am not even going to make a comment. Well, the baby liked it.
In May, it's time to save at Pizza Perfect. Get $3 off any large pizza. Pizza Perfect is known for its buffet, which includes pizza, as well as spaghetti, breadsticks, salad, dessert, and drink for only $13. The buffet is available Monday through Saturday for lunch and for dinner on Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday. This month, get $3 off any large pizza at Pizza Perfect on Coliseum Boulevard in Eastbrook. Available for carryout and delivery.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number 1 in the number 2 business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
We get Montgomery talking 24 hours a day. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Before we forget, this part of the program brought to you by Prattville Carpet.
That's right.
And they're Prattville Carpet. Ray Bowles and the team, including Ronnie, his dad.
Oh, I love Ronnie.
Good dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a good neighbor too, as we've learned.
Great neighbor. Great neighbor to have, yeah.
But they can help you out there at Prattville Carpet with any resurface job you might imagine. It's just a simple phone call at 285-8117. They'll come out and do a free in-home measurement.
Accurate measurement, too.
Yeah, and so they'll just measure, say you're redoing the bedroom.
Yeah.
Want to put new carpet down. They'll get the exact measurements and then be like, okay, what kind of carpet do you want? They'll know exactly how much the job's going to cost.
Yep.
Get it done correct or very quickly. And it's just that easy. In fact, maybe you're about to go on vacation for the summer.
That, to me, is the dream, Joey.
And Ray's come up with this idea that why not have Prattville Carpet come out and look before you go on vacation and then, give them the key.
Mm-hmm.
And they can work on your home while you're not living in it for a week or so. And then you're excited on the way back home from vacation to see what they've done.
The furniture moved and everything.
And a lot of folks have done that, and this is how trustworthy they are there at Prattville.
To me, that's amazing. Imagine going on vacation. Imagine not telling your wife.
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
Surprise her. Yeah, she comes in, she's got brand new flooring.
So y'all check them out today. Again, that number, 285-8117. That's 285-8117. And be sure to tell them that Joey and Eddie, those fellas on the radio, sent you. So we learn anything today? Anything?
I mean, same old.
I agree with you.
I mean, it's.
Well, I learned something about Rhodesian history from Jeff Tice. That guy knows so much stuff.
Just random, too.
Yeah.
Just random. I enjoyed, again, we talked about it, but I did enjoy seeing President Trump's kind of, I won't say takedown, but meeting that he had at the White House yesterday. And I enjoy seeing that. And I hope others and other leaders that come to talk, if you come in with BS, he's going to call you out.
No, and I'm glad Trump invited him and did the way he did, because you get more inside information, and it didn't get anywhere near as contentious as the whole Zelensky thing. No, and you had the press was obnoxious through the whole thing, but near the end, you finally realize, oh, it seems like we understand the problem now, and here's what is needed to help. Like, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah. But I like the fact they don't go behind closed doors and have these pretend conversations. I enjoy seeing the sausage get made right there.
Now, I still haven't gotten to China displeased with Trump's proposed Golden Dome missile defense system, but kind of explains itself. Like, wait, you're going to be able to stop all our missiles?
Have you ever heard of China mining the backside of the moon?
No, I've not heard of that.
It's happening.
Sounds a little retarded.
I've heard that too.
Thank you.
It seems really crazy. And also another thing that China's not happy about the Golden Dome is they can't fly their balloons.
Oh, yeah.
Their weather balloons.
Yeah, like they did when Sleepy Joe was at the helm.
Yeah.
Well, and apparently this is going to be this is better than Iron Dome. This is using the latest space-based
It better be better.
assets.
It's gold. It's newer. Costs more. Right, gold.
It's gold.
Yeah. Although it's very Trump-esque being gold. Like, if you
Well,
ever
of course,
seen his
everything's
apartment,
gold.
it's all gold.
Well, in the
Even
Oval
toilets.
Office, isn't it beautiful? Look at the gold. Oh, look, I love gold.
At some point, though, too much gold, isn't it tacky?
Yeah, I think so. I agree
Yeah.
with you.
Okay, just
It can be done in a way where,
can be,
like
yeah.
Mar-a-Lago, for instance, like
that's
the old Baroque sort of stylings.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Or the Library of Congress, the mosaic that they have, and a lot of it in gold inset.
Mhm.
That is beautiful.
Beautiful.
I don't get me wrong, but yeah, if it's like, look at my toilet,
Gold, gold, baby.
If you look closely, you can see the imprints because it's a soft metal. It is shaped to my
Right. That's what
golden ass.
got that golden bidet. It's over the top a little bit. Although I remember back in the day, there was a Cadillac in Highland Garden that rode around. It had the golden hood ornament. And it was the lady and the swan. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. People stealing those things. Like
I imagine so. But when he rode by, we always like, yeah. For whatever reason, we
Yeah.
thought he had that gold. It was going on right there.
He's got that gold. So, yeah. I guess we learned about Bitcoin hitting a new all-time high.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm pretty happy about that. I think it's still early, folks. Just to
Well, of
reiterate
course.
the point.
Yeah.
It's still early.
And I wish I had a time machine.
Yeah. Oh, me too, man.
Donald Trump does. Just get with him. You'll be all right.
I wish I had just stuck to my gut feeling and not, and I still made money, but not, I should have just stuck with it.
Well, my gut feeling was that Bitcoin was going to like take over PayPal and not have it be some type of currency like it is now. but I was half right, I guess. Just not in the way that I wanted it to be.
Yeah, and I know it's become like a broken record here, but we're so in the middle of everything.
Yeah.
The economic deals, the peace deals, the big, beautiful bill. Like, we're still just in the middle of it all. The AI revolution, yada, yada, yada. And we'll see. By the way, I didn't get to, did you see the Montgomery City Council didn't quite vote on the Montgomery Museum of Fine Arts? They put it off another 2 weeks before they actually vote on a contract of understanding between the two boards.
Kicked it out of the can down the road.
And it seems like the mayor's council is just making stuff up. Like, with the city board's not operating. And the folks are like, wait, we appointed all these people. How are you saying the board doesn't exist when the board exists? Andrew Szymanski should join us next Wednesday before that vote. So I'm going to have a lot of questions for him on that one in particular. But it's, I think, an example of maybe other things going on in this dear city of ours.
Yep.
Maybe I will move to Auburn. It is a beautiful place.
It is wonderful.
I keep threatening that. I don't know. Anyway, thanks for being here, both of you.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Greg Budell and Pamela. Happy Hour. They're next.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 90.